And welcome everybody to Series 2 of the Day 3 of Week 5 of whatever it is, of VCS English. We have Flash versus 𝗀 coming up. With me is Yulwei and 𝗲𝗵𝗺. How did you guys enjoy the last series? How was it?
Yeah, my prediction was correct. You all went OPG because you didn't believe in 𝗬𝗏𝗺's power, but 𝗬𝗏, of course, came back. So I'm quite happy.
If you look at the graphic, it will clearly say OPG. It'll clearly say Buffalo. I'll have you know that. No, yes, I made that mistake. Leave me alone. But anyway, that's enough of that. Flash versus 𝗀. Do we want to talk about? So we'll start with Flash because they have a new player in the top lane. Yulwei, tell us a bit about Yoshino and what he's done for the team so far.
So, of course, he was one of the most anticipated players to come back. Everyone wanted to see Flash Yoshino. He played the whole spring regular season, of course, and then wasn't able to play playoffs and was ill, quite a severe illness. I heard he's still on medication all the time, so it's still not quite. He's still not quite over it. Sadly, I hope all the best for him, of course, and quick recovery. But he's at least able to play again, and he won his very first series coming back. So that was super impressive to see. They now have a carry in the top lane. Stark has had some very off games, some very weak performances. So with Yoshino coming in, Flash is ready to go 7-0 in the second part.
Yeah. So 𝗲𝗵𝗺, Flash, they're on an upswing. Tell us a bit about them. How have they been doing that? How have they come around on their game plan?
Yeah, I mean, I really do think that part of what they're really capable of doing is the fact that they've got an absolute superstar out of the mid lane. 𝗁𝗁𝗃 has got to be one of the best players in the league, if not the best mid laner alone standing in the league. And shockingly, I mean, yes, they lost to 𝗂𝗵𝗺. I don't think that that's an unreasonable thing for most teams to do nowadays. But their other loss, of course, was against 𝗀 in first rotation. And after we've seen everything come out, you wouldn't expect that. And so if they take this game against 𝗀, there's a good chance they come out as the number 2 after beating 𝗀𝗻 and losing to 𝗂𝗵𝗺. I think, especially now with Yoshino taking this top spot, being able to give them another carry to work with in one of their solo lanes, they're in a really solid position to really do well in the back half of the split.
That they are. Now, Yulwei, we've heard about 𝗁𝗁𝗃, we've heard about the superstar. What does 𝗀 got going for them? Do they maybe have someone we could talk about?
Someone we all know me into glory.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm clearly referring to Lisa. No. Who are you talking about? Who are we talking about?
So, of course, 𝗁𝗁 is still the superstar for 𝗀. We actually have seen him on a lot of supportive champions in the last few series. 𝗀 has a very strange obsession with drafting in a very sad way. They came in yesterday against OPG and looked like the better team. I would argue in all 3 games, but they had severe draft disadvantages in at least 2 of those. We're still able to eke out the victory in the series in the end. Very important, the victory. Now moving to 3 and 5. Yeah, 3 and 5, I think. 3 and 4, of course. Yeah, 7 series.
7 games.
So 3 and 4. If they win today, they move to 4 and 4 and are back in top 4 contention. So it's another very important day for them. But I just want to see 𝗁𝗁 shine on his cool champions, on Ryze, on give me Syndra again, give me Yasuo. He played Yasuo as well. Don't give me the Karma all the time, please.
Yeah, it has been quite upsetting to see that they're really putting their carries on Karma Senna. We saw that all 3 games last time, and it would be nice to see 𝗁𝗁𝗃, Glory, and of course 𝗁𝗁 on actual carry picks. So yeah, they matched up against each other in week 1. That was a surprising victory for 𝗀. Do you want to talk about how that came about? Open question, I guess.
Can I ask 𝗁𝗁 first about his opinion on their draft yesterday? Because I was pretty adamant about the fact that this wasn't the greatest strategy. How did you feel about the Senna, Karma, strange composition they went for all 3 games?
I mean, you play like the super supportive composition and you don't have a lot of damage, so you're looking for really extended fights. And I suppose that's almost a flex in terms of skill, your ability to make sure your positioning is on 100% of the time, which is why games had such high variance. They looked really good 85% of the time like the far dominant team, but that little bit of time that they spend struggling in some of the fights, finding, some of the losses, taking skill shots they shouldn't, they don't have the damage, they don't have the ramp up to actually, take the fight. And that's why I think Yoshino's a really big thing. Or my apologies, not Yoshino. The jungle pool has been really interesting to me from their team, because they keep switching between the two junglers, and I don't think that's helping. And 𝗏𝗲𝗺 is the damage dealer, which is really helpful for the team to have, but he also, I don't think, is as good as Eagle is. So I'm in this conflict of, you put Eagle in, you get the better jungler. You put 𝗏𝗏𝗺 in, you get what's better for your composition, because you can actually draft around damage in the jungle.
Yeah,
That's really
that's a good thing. So, what would you like to see out of? So, I mean, coming to this, we are saying Flash is the favorite team. They've had a lot more thing. So we'll go to Yulwei. How does % win? What's their win condition in this series?
This is a very interesting series because both teams excel at team fights, but I'm not sure about this point, but I feel like % should still be the better team. They have had so much synergy in the first few weeks, and they still show glimpses of their mastery in team fights, where it just looks like they can out-team fight every single team. They out-teamed Ford Cerberus in their series last week. Barely weren't able to get the second win there. They should have won that game, though. And they look really, really crisp, really clean when it comes to teamfight coordination, to target access, target calling. So I feel like they have to draft more to scale into teamfights and then overcome Flash, who, of course, is also a very good team fighting team. So I feel like it all has to come from mid-late game teamfights where % once again excels and just 5v5 dominates the enemy team.
And Rebel, how is Flash going to make sure they are well suited for that fight for first, with Cerberus slightly falling off in the last couple of games?
I think two ways you can go about it is you pick a little more damage early, because it accesses better strength for your lanes, better strength for the team fights that on even footing feel a lot closer, which is part of the reason why this was a 2-1 in favor of % earlier in the season, despite Flash's successes. The other thing I could see really heavily going in their favor is actually ego diff. I talked about the jungles, Eagle and 𝗏𝗏𝗺 really not being the top upper echelon of junglers. Ego's a really good jungler, and I think Ego will make a massive difference in this game if he gets something aggressive early.
Yeah.
Just a slight rebuttal on Ego. He has also been very inconsistent, right? He had some games where he just hard hinted everything away. The one Lee Sin game, you don't even want to talk about that one. And the one game against Gamma, I think it was as well, where Ego they are very reliant on Ego, and so far he has been one of the best junglers. I agree, but if he has an off series today, and maybe Eagle can control him, or maybe 𝗏𝗏𝗺 comes in, just out mechanics him because he's a rookie as well, I think then Flash is very prone to falling down to % again.
All right. Well, we've had a bit more time added onto the timer on the VETV stream, so we are going to chuck to a quick break, and when we come back, it should be the cast. We might just come back straight to the casters and draft, and they will take them from there. So, see you around. See you shortly. Welcome back, everyone. So I did lie. We're not going straight to casters. You have to still look in me. I'm sorry. But so yeah, we're going into Flash and Percent very shortly. So we're just gonna recap again what these teams need to do to win in this very important match for both teams in the standings. Yulwei, you said Flash last time. We'll make you do Percent. What's Percent got to do? Wait. No, I did the wrong way. You do Flash.
The
You
other
did
way.
Percent last time.
I do Flash now? Okay, I feel like
do Flash
Flash
now.
just has to keep to play to their formula. They finally kind of settled on a way to play the game. They draft all the same compositions, hyper carries for mid and bot lane, something that is useful in team fights in top lane. Sometimes it was tanks, sometimes it's cannon. Doesn't really matter, it just has to do something in team fights, has to set up the carries for success. Ego goes early game jungler, whatever he finds, and tries to dominate the jungle. And that's a very set formula, and Flash has executed on that nicely. They don't have to add anything special, anything spicy. Just play to that, and you're going to win.
And Rebel, on the side of Percent, is there anything interesting we should be looking out for? Some picks to watch, or maybe some composition strategies we see? I don't know.
I think, yeah, the Syndra and the Karma out of the mid lane are both banned pretty commonly across both, but burning that much draft capital sometimes is a little bit daunting for teams. So if either one of those slip through for Percent, I think it's a great pick for Glory that can both mitigate what the mid pressure comes through from 𝗁𝗃, and then also is really good at team fighting late, which is something that they desperately need to support that with. I also think Thresh is really important because Big Koro is a big reason why their team has some success, especially in late game team fights. It's good for pick potential to set him up in the early game, and the Lantern is fantastic for saving him in the later gauge when he likes to play a little bit more aggressive and be able to play on the front foot a bit more. So I think the Thresh, the Karma, the Syndra are things to look for specifically on the side of Percent.
Alrighty then. Well,
another one will be Senna, right? Because they played 3 Senna games back to back yesterday. Let's see if Flash actually wants to do something about the Senna, or if they just leave open the Senna and force Percent on their weird supportive team compositions again. Because I actually think you kind of like to see that as Flash. I think with Flash on double hyper carries in mid and bot lane, they don't really mind the supportive composition for Percent.
Yeah, so that's what you're saying. So yeah, you're saying you don't mind the supportive composition on them.
At least, yeah.
What normally we would be thinking we want to see Glory on the carries as the big superstar. So we're okay with him on Karma now?
I'm actually, the reason I'm okay with him on Karma is because 𝗁𝗃 is such a massive threat that, if he gets going during the course of a game, then it's going to be a struggle no matter what. And Karma's honestly one of the best, if not the best champion in the game for mitigating that kind of thing. And Glory is a fantastic player, but he also really works as an enabler for his team. He's not just somebody that you need to throw on 𝗂𝗄𝗆 and let have the most DPS in the entire game. You can put him on things that allow team fight to go better, supportive things to make sure that everybody else is doing their job as well. And that's just as much of a flex. And I think Glory has shown the ability to do exactly that. I don't know that I would like to see Karma Senna combined. I don't think I want to see a lack of damage, but I don't actually disagree with the fact that they're willing to take one of those two in place of the other to have a little bit more damage out of the other position.
Yep, that seems reasonable. Yulwei, I want to talk about actually top lane because Yoshino's back. How do you think he'll fare? How do you think he will fare up against 𝗁𝗃 or vice versa? We saw 𝗁𝗃 on the Wukong. He seemed pretty comfortable on that pick last time.
Yeah,
what do you think
to me
will happen in that lane?
So far, 𝗁𝗃 has struck me as kind of the Stark, the new Stark. A little bit better in lane, I'd argue, at least in this split. Of course, Stark was a very good laner a few years back. Isn't really that great in lane anymore. But 𝗁𝗃 is really the team fighting top lane. He tried Fiora once, didn't really go his way. I mean, he won lane even, but yeah, then he wasn't able to execute against Cerberus. But I really like 𝗁𝗃 on the Wukong. On the Malphite, I really want to see Malphite again. Especially, maybe you can bait something like a Wukong pick for Flash. An answer with Malphite, be fine in lane, don't die to Yoshino, and have greater impact in team fights. So I feel like Yoshino is actually kind of playing against his own sub. He's playing against a player who's very similar to Stark.
Yes, it's worth mentioning that last time they played against each other, Stark was playing for Flash. And are you sure about this Malphite pick? Because we do know that Yoshino is a renowned cannon player. So we don't know about this Malphite cannon matchup. There's no bigger fiery. Anyway, enough of that. We're going to be tossing it over to Everyday and another Yulwei to take us for the draft.
Thank you very much there, Vinny, and we will leave the much less attractive Yulwei behind and pick up the Colorcaster Yulwei. It's weird having a clone, isn't it? But oh well, we deal with it.
It's getting really warm in my room here. It's already warm out there, and now there's two Yulweis.
I know,
oh
it's
man,
crazy. There's not that much room in my apartment. I don't know where to put this other Everyday. But regardless, we are in draft. Pantheon, 𝗁𝗲, Wukong, and Senna. 2 picks. You guys said, well, these are important picks to watch, but bang! Team Flash apparently doesn't want us to watch it because they are removed, and now so is Carty's Galio. So, with the bans now revealed, what first picks does this open up here for %?
Felia's kind of completely lost his
hello.
first pick potential, but there we go. % actually going back to more carry style for Glory. Syndra is open. It's very interesting that teams have very different priorities. Aphelios was not present in the last series. Syndra was I think she was banned. I didn't actually pay attention to the bans too much, but Syndra, some teams have really shied away from Syndra, but now it's first picked again. And Set is another one that some teams are still super, super high on, and other teams have dropped here and there. So this Set, of course, the flex pick, we just saw mid lane Set, so he's actually quadra flex. And we'll see what Flash wants to do with this. Another special for Slater. They are building team fight composition already, and this Set Ezreal lane is not the greatest ever, but it can work. It's not like you have anti-synergy on anything, so Set's still very flexible here.
Yeah, and of course Set is not locked into support. It's the presumed role, but is definitely still able to be moved, as 𝗁𝗄𝗧 is actually going to be picked up as the AD carry here. Fairly high priority. That is bold. Slater, of course, is the 𝗁𝗄𝗧 maestro, but he's lost. He's going to be up against his favorite champion. Interesting pick this early in the draft out of %. I'm kind of curious why they've gone for it, but I like this one.
So 𝗁𝗁𝗧 is kind of was known at the start of the split, especially in China, and then Europe kind of picked up on that as well as the Ezreal counter, because 𝗁𝗁𝗧 is actually able to jump on top of Ezreal. Most traditional IDCs have problems to get to him, and then Ezreal can just poke from range, can win the fight with prolonged Q poke, with ults and so on, just stay safe. So this 𝗁𝗁𝗧 is going to have big problems into Orianna, of course, because she basically has to assassinate Orianna and can never attack her from in a front to back setup. But it's more picked to threaten Slater's Ezreal. But I really like this Carty answer. Carty is so good on control mages. We talked about him as one of the potential MVPs for the mid split. Highest in our MVP rankings right now as well. And he's going to have a big impact on this Orianna.
Yeah, that's something I was... as soon as I saw that locked in, I immediately got very scared for %. Carty's Orianna is a fearsome thing. And, I mean, yeah, you can't ban out all of his champions. We did identify him as a potential mid-split MVP for a reason. It's going to be difficult to navigate around this mid laner. I have to be interested to see what % wants to do in order to do it, as the top lane bans come in from them and the jungle bans come in from Flash.
So speaking of jungle bans, there's actually one champ who is kind of fallen out of favor too, surprisingly so. We didn't change patches, guys. We are still on 10-13. So you're suddenly not seeing first pick Volibear anymore. It's quite surprising.
Good.
And he's still open. I think Flash might opt into Volibear here because they banned out Olaf, one of his weirder matchups. We actually saw some Volibear win this matchup yesterday in NA and EU as well. But most of the time, Olaf should be favored here. So I feel like this is setting up Volibear jungle and then still the flex between top and support for the set. I'm not the biggest fan of the combination of Volibear Set together with two more backline-oriented carries and Ezreal Orianna, so maybe they can surprise me.
It's a bit strange, because one half of your team wants to kite, the other gets kited. A bit of a weird one, but we'll have to see what they go towards. Graves was, of course, removed. That's one of Ego's favourite champions. But he has, of course, been playing the Trundle as well, and he's been very, very good on that. Wouldn't be too surprised to see that come in. It's not amazing for the composition. but it's Trundle on this patch. He's kind of always busted, but they choose to rip out the Ornn.
The blind top instead. So we have either support or jungle counter pick. Most likely jungle, as we haven't really seen much set jungle in the VCS at least.
Yeah, I think
they open up the Trundle now. This is a little bit strange. Yoshino, of course, has shown us some tanks as well, but I would have really liked to see Yoshino last pick, enabling him to bring in the counters, to bring in the 𝗘𝗀𝗇s, the 𝘳𝗂𝗍s, all this fun stuff we've seen from 𝗀𝗽 and 𝗂𝗃. Instead, he has to blind pick his top lane now. Going to be fine to 𝗁𝗺𝗺, okay. 𝗁𝗺𝗺 top lane, into Ezreal Orianna.
Dangerous.
Well,
The pick I want to comment on here is actually the Ornn with Trundle available. You knew that the enemy team still had to pick up a jungler, and you picked Ornn when there's a Trundle. Like, come on, man. It's so basic. He steals all of your stats. He gets ridiculously tanky. Is this going to be 𝗵𝗺𝗺𝘀?
I think it's quite a good pick here. Yep. I really like an enchanter here because you have a free bot lane basically with Ezreal. Anyway, Yuumi was one option. I actually think you could have gone even deeper into the support pool. Something like Soraka looks very, very good in this game, in my opinion. There isn't much dive. I mean, I guess if Lisa hits a good tempered fate, you could dive in. But Soraka would have been very strong here. So yeah, I like the adaptation to see set jungle and these enchanter support. Of course, I always like to see the enchanters. Yuumi's has quite a hard matchup into Bard. It's very hard for her to get out and stay safe, which is a big problem with the Yuumi nurse. She really needs to get her auto attacks in now to stay topped off in mana. So yeah, maybe I would have actually liked to see Soraka or Sona here. I think they are a little bit better, but of course Yuumi more of the pro champion, also one of Palette's specials. So. Here we go. Again, Ezreal Yuumi, it's not dead yet, guys. It's still here.
We thought it would be dead on this patch with the mana cost on that Yuumi E being put through the roof. But, nope. Got 9 lives. Needs to be nerfed 9 times, apparently. Could only have 1 or 2 left at this point. But apparently they haven't quite chunked through all of them. So, let's turn nameplates off. Because nameplates off, I actually really like %'s comp.
So, it's I'm kind of I'm not quite sure if I like the comp. The 𝗁𝗺𝗺 top lane I hate. I really don't think 𝗁𝗺𝗺 top lane is great. 𝗁𝗺𝗺 Trundle as a combination is kind of weird to me because Trundle is more defensive while 𝗁𝗺𝗺 really needs to jump in. So the tank combination is not really doesn't really have the greatest synergy there. Also, 𝗁𝗺𝗺 tends to kind of just get kited, especially by Ezreal. If he builds Iceborne Gauntlet, Ezreal, the 𝗁𝗺𝗺 can never touch the Ezreal. Kind of the same goes for Orianna, so I really don't like this pick. They opted in for Bard, so not the hardest of engages in the bot lane. So I'm not quite sure. The 𝗁𝗍 is kind of off theme if you look at the whole composition. You have a lot of very strong kiting tools. You have a nice repositioning. You're very fast. You can take objectives very easily. But then 𝗁𝗍, to win teamfights, 𝗁𝗍 needs to jump in and assassinate at least one of the 2 backline carries. And there isn't really the greatest amount of follow-up, of course. 𝗁𝗺𝗺 can jump in, but he's so slow, so everyone can just laugh at him and step away. So I feel like 𝗏𝑗𝗀𝗀 has to have an outstanding performance here. You might have to invest some time to get him ahead, because in an even game, I feel like 𝗏𝗀𝗀 doesn't have the damage to really threaten any kind of assassination in the backline.
Yeah,
so and I would favor 𝗏𝗏's comp from that.
Fair enough. I mean, my biggest problem is I just think the Ornn, it's almost a 4v5 Trundle into Ornn. It's such a big deal in my opinion, but that's nameplates off. Of course, we do not play. These are not 10 random players. We do know who these players are. And I think 𝗁𝗏𝗺's Orianna and 𝗁𝗏's Ezreal are just too fearsome. Giving those 2 players such strong champions for them, it's terrifying.
And we talked a lot about them in the draft discussion and on the analyst desk. This is what Flash has figured out for themselves. And I really like this because we criticized Flash so much for all the time in Spring Split for their drafting. We called Surge a lot of mean names. But I feel like the whole team, and there has to be credit to 𝘁 as well, has figured out a way to win. And their drafts aren't anything special. I feel like their drafts are just very standard, but that's good enough to win with the VCS. And they are one of the few teams who really have an identity from draft onwards. They like to draft very easy front-to-back team fights with strong carries for your 2-star players, which makes a lot of sense, with a little bit of assistance in the support position. And yeah, it works. They are on a 5 series winning streak, so they are doing something very, very correctly.
Absolutely. 𝗂𝗂𝗍 is down in the bot lane here. He wants to pull the trigger on the first set gank, and this is looking disastrous already. He flashes forward, gets the facebreaker onto Big 𝘁𝗀. He goes for the drink of chocolate, but it's not going to be enough, as 𝗬𝗲 now has to kite away. 𝘁𝗏 takes a lot of damage. 𝗬𝗲 flashes. 𝗂𝗂𝗍 has arrived, but can't pull the trigger.
So they get even more out of this gank. 𝗬𝗲 with a little bit of an overextension. But gank as well.
He's charging into the mid lane, but no flash this time.
Yeah, use the flash in the bot lane, so that he can't force the flash for glory. This shouldn't amount to much. Nope. Nice, I like that. Both junglers agree on the fact that they are both tanks. They know they don't deal any damage, so yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah. So it is the
but
first... Sorry, go ahead.
No, just wanted to say the same thing.
I was going to say, we do have 𝗂𝗂𝗍 striking first on the map, making this set jungle look very effective there. Of course, he burnt his flash, but it's not a big deal, as, he's back in the mid lane, and he's brought his cat with him. Look how quick he is speeding in, and it's going to be 𝘁𝗍 picking up the kill. 𝗂𝗂𝗍 doesn't even get an assist. He really was just holding the cat, as 𝗂𝗂𝗍 gets chunked. Good start for Flash.
That's a big disrespect for glory. He saw the teleport come in. This was so obvious. They also knew that 𝗂𝗂𝗍 was still on bot side, because when the junglers met, of course, 𝗂𝗂𝗍 went bot side and 𝗂𝗂𝗍 went top side. So very disappointing start for 𝘁, really not reading the map positions well, especially for the second kill. I think the first kill was not much he can do there, just a lot of CC. And it's such a good game for 𝘁 already, because just a minor thing, he actually went with the support item choice I always want to see on Yuumi. I think it's way better. The 𝗨𝘀𝗺𝘀 gives him way better scaling, way better synergy with his later items, especially, of course, Athene's. So he has now gotten a lot of gold out of that one already. A lot of auto attacks in the early skirmishes. So should be well on his way to the second stage, or the warding stage of the Frost...
The Frostfang.
The 𝗨𝘀𝗺𝘀, of course.
Yeah. And yeah, it's very good. I wanted to comment, of course, we have 𝗬𝗲 on Bard, which is one of his specialty champions. Of course, not off to a good start. I wanted to bring it up before that. But potentially could turn it around in the mid-game. It has been his best champion. And he has been a little bit tricky here, as he's brought the Omni Stone. Wants to have a try of all the different runes.
Yeah, 𝗬𝗲 is one of the few Bards players who hasn't agreed on the common sense, or like every other Bard seems to be running Guardian right now, especially in the VCS. Everyone has kind of agreed on Guardian. Only 𝗬𝗲 has been running some other things. We saw the Electrocute, I think, from him as well, or at least one of the Bards ran Electrocute. And then 𝗬𝗲 was also the only Bard to ever go 𝗨𝘀𝗺𝗀 in the VCS. Very uncommon choice for the Bard at least.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit of a special Bard player. He really knows the champ in and out. It's his main. So we can expect some cool things from 𝗬𝗲, but so far not the greatest start, of course.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he does tear anyone apart. Because we'll have to find out, as 𝘁𝗁 has popped out to get a bit of damage. The Trundle is lurking around this side, but it's really hard to get it on this lane. The pillar really doesn't do anything. As 𝗂𝗂𝗍 is clearing that ward out, spotted. Pillar goes up. 𝗂𝗂𝗍 wants this. He's gone forward, used the red smite. Set will, of course, get away.
𝗂𝗂𝗍 used the blue one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. These two junglers clashing is really not exciting. This is not Grace against Nidalee. This is Trundle against Set, tank Set. So yeah, there's not going to be anything of importance happening in that meeting.
Glory rips out the unleashed power, but he's on the run, and 𝗂𝗂𝗍 comes in just in time to pop the pillar up. 𝗂𝗂𝗍 now gets the gun show out, pops him forward, goes for the haymaker, but no one dies.
So finally, good positioning for 𝗂𝗂𝗍 to actually be there for his mid laner. This gank this time got kind of sniffed out by them, and they forced the flash out of 𝘁𝗄𝗧. So 𝘁𝗄𝗧 now without summoners, it's quite hard for 𝘁𝗄𝗧 to escape from a well-placed pillar. So 𝗂𝗂𝗍 might come back to a wraparound gank to look. Yeah, and there we
Yep,
are.
there it is. God damn, don't you look smart. It's to pop the pillar up into the Syndra stun, and 𝗁𝗁 gets that glory with the first kill. For his team, of course.
Nicely done. This was very well executed. And the first good play for Percent. They didn't want to go out without showing how strong they can be as well and close the gold gap as well. The dragon got stopped. So in the end, it's only 400 gold lead, and Flash needs to find the next play to accelerate. Usually a little bit stronger in the early game, but of course, in this game, they don't really have to go for anything. They have a super strong scaling backline, I should say. So it's not the onus is not really on Flash to get a big lead, but historically you would expect Flash to be the stronger early game team.
Yeah, of course. That is, we often talk about Percent's pretty abysmal early games. The fact they're only 500 gold down is actually not too bad for them. You need to see them stepping on the gas. As look at 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀. He's learning from a certain other 𝗁cie𝗱𝘆𝘆. He's picked up that serrated.
Interesting.
Let's hope he doesn't also learn how to throw a game from that 𝗁𝗁𝗀𝗀.
So the second 𝗁𝗁𝗀 in a row going straight to Dirk first item. He didn't even get a kill. So yesterday I thought it was just a little bit of acceleration and a little bit of getting to your dominating your lane or something. So it seems to be an actual build. I need to research this. Sorry, I didn't actually have the time to look into this one.
It does get
it's
you to the
serrated Dirk
𝗀𝗀𝗆
again.
It does get you to the 𝗀𝗀𝗆 quite quickly.
I would still argue. I mean, pickaxe. If you just want the 𝗀𝗀𝗆, pickaxe just does the job too. So it definitely is there for lane pressure too, and you kind of skip your tier, so you get a later transformation on Muramana. Yesterday, of course, he just forwent the Muramana altogether. Not going to be the case, as we see the Fairy Charm in his inventory, so probably still going Muramana, as Eagle has just quietly gotten away with a little bit of a steal here, just taking the first Rift Herald.
Yeah, that's not super common there. Completely uncontested Rift Herald. But we do have a 1v1 up in the top side. 𝗁𝗁𝗆 and 𝘂𝗁 having a brawl. The junglers cannot join yet. Both ults have been used, but the suplex brings down 𝗃𝗏𝗺.
And there we see why Sett jungle is actually picked in some other leagues very, very often. He's just a very fast boy. And even though Trundle and Sett just saw each other, Trundle could just not follow up. Sett just ran away from him, ran to the top lane. Very good flash for 𝘂𝗁 as well. Another kill over to Flash.
Yeah, looking good there. Of course, that also turns the 𝗁𝗏𝗺 ult off. That takes away the easy peasy dives, if they had wanted to go for that. Not the best dive lane, but let's have a look at how this happens.
So a lot of damage exchanged between the two tanks. 𝘂𝗁 is not able to step out of the E, so then flashes away. And yeah, Eagle is just a Sett Trundle. He's just not fast enough to follow up the Sett running the 100-meter competition while he's trying to go for a marathon. So not quite there. Catch him out.
Oh, Ego's got another catch out here. 𝗁𝗁𝗆 has to instantly flash away. Now Eagle's entered the fray. Ego, he's just walking away, shrugs it off, gives him the big old thumbs up. And the king of the pit is in no trouble. But look at 𝗏𝗏𝗆. He's been found. He's been engaged on. He gets under tower. And the last Q hit. And that's a double kill. Lisa died and I didn't even notice.
And that's pretty much all she wrote for this game, honestly. Because if the bot lane is ahead, this 𝗁𝗁𝗆 pick can't do anything. Now 2-0 for Slater. He's going to get some platings too. You also see 𝗏𝗏𝗆 is already on his first transformation for the Spell Thief. So very far ahead in terms of item gold to the average. So this bot lane is going to be so hard to deal with later on. Slater is itemization timing, better economy. How did this happen? Conqueror already not great for Lisa, one of the worst ones.
Oh, this is...
and they just ignore the 𝗁𝗁𝗆. That was perfectly played for Slater and 𝗏𝗏𝗆. And Slater and 𝗏𝗏𝗆 have shown some very bad laning phases, especially if you think back to the tournament between PCS and VCS, where they first played together. They played a lot of Yuumi there, and almost every single game, 𝗏𝗏𝗆 actually died very early on in lane. So we finally see some growth. And this bot lane is supposed to be our star bot lane, the best bot lane in the region. And we are slowly getting there. They're getting better every single series.
Yeah, they are.
This is kind of
Flash
true for the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, Flash is really beginning to take shape. They are a very strong team at this point. Their record is not as good as we expect before the split, but it's getting better and better every day. And some lucky wins while they were in their slump have kept them super competitive. in the split. I've also got to say, that was very good play out of 𝘁𝗱 and 𝘁𝗏, but it was also pretty rubbish out of 𝘂𝗀𝗆 and 𝘁cie. Let's be honest. They could have been played better, but oh well. And I agree with you. I mean, this 𝘁cie is behind. You just don't do anything anymore. And it's not even going to be AP 𝘁cie. It's AD 𝘁cie against an Ezreal who can go Iceborne.
I am really not a fan of 𝘁cie right now. I think she's...
Hang on a minute. You know who else you're not a fan of? Oh, YT.
Yeah, 𝗁𝗵𝗆 top lane. Indeed. Nice. Good cutaway. Thank you for that. He had to blow ult and flash, though, so now he's pretty much just there to catch minion waves. We still have the Herald, by the way, in Eagle's inventory, but he hasn't found a chance to actually use it anywhere. Yeah. Seems like mid lane is going to be the target.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, 𝘂𝗍 also here. Yep.
It is dropped down, as that will be pushed into the mid lane. 𝘁𝗍, he's been quiet. 𝘁𝗀 actually has a little bit of a lead, but of course it is 𝘁𝗲. Super powerful champion. It's not too surprising. Can they get the third plate? Yes, they can. That's very nice there for Mr. 𝘁𝗀, who now has a very tight pair of carry pants on him. He already had the pants on, but he's had to really cinch the belt up because he has to take over a lot of 𝘂𝗀𝗆's role as well.
Absolutely, yes. He is now the only hope, really, for percent, because the 𝗁𝗵𝗆 top lane is already falling off. It's actually going for Trinity. Interesting. So that is something Vinnie will very much like and appreciate, because most of our top lane 𝗁𝗵𝗆s have been going tank route. But, I mean, is it going to be enough? It looks like 𝘁𝗍 is going for the Iceborne Gauntlet, which I really like. This is going to really make the life difficult for Eagle and YT. They have to fight against the constant slows, against Yuumi ultimate, against Yuumi heals and speed up, so it's going to be really difficult there. And they want to set something up here.
They're looking
realize
for
it's a little bit too dangerous.
Yeah, 𝘁𝗍's on the way down. 𝘁𝗀 has to go through the magical journey. 𝘂𝗀𝗆 is now split off. This should be a free first tower here for Flash. No problem whatsoever. Looking very good. So something we haven't even mentioned, because we've been talking about so many other interactions. This 𝗁𝗵𝗆 is particularly egregious into set. 𝗁𝗵𝗆, yeah, ult. Give yourself all the health you want, baby. And I'm going to slam you back into your team and deal a lot of damage. But let's see how much damage is going to be dealt to 𝘁𝗁𝗆. And it's certainly enough to kill him. Yoshino will now go forward, get the knock up onto Eagle. The Trundle's on the run. 𝘁𝗀 goes through the journey, but who's on the other side? It's Ego, and he brings him down to earth.
And another 2 kills for Flash. Flash really looking very strong in this early game. Very dynamic. I'm a big fan of the set pick so far. Ego really making it work and showing us that he has practiced this one. I was kind of confused to not see any set jungles, because at least in EU, we see a lot of successful ones. So finally, it has made its way to the VCS as well. And Ego looking very polished on this champion.
Absolutely. I'm really impressed so far. I had my doubts about the set jungle, but my doubts are being assuaged. And I've got to say, more and more I see Ego play the tank junglers, the more impressed I am with him. He's really shaken off that inconsistent solo queue star mode. He's just looking like a very good cog in the machine of Flash. And that's a very good thing to be. He doesn't have to be the big carry. There's other people on his team that can do that.
And you can still be the big carry in terms of game impact, even though you are not the big carry when it comes to damage, like in this game. I mean, 𝘁𝗍 and 𝘁𝗏 definitely deserve a little bit of the credit too for their incredible laning phase, but most of the plays come from Ego, and he has directed this early game. We said before that Ego is one of the most important Flash members, a little bit inconsistent, but when he's on, he's on.
Let's have a look at what happened here. It was, of course, the Yuumi slow that started it all off, and 𝘁𝗁𝗆. Well, that's a
both sides.
That's a 𝘁𝗁𝗆.
Oh, that's rough. And also, 𝘁𝗀 trying to escape here, but Ego just too fast. He's able to run behind him because of blue smite, as well as, of course, all his extra movement speed.
Mate,
very likely to run.
You cannot tunnel away from the King of the Ring. He's going to bring you back in every time. As Percent puts a bit of pressure up towards the top side, but don't really get anything out of it. What can Percent do here? They are really struggling at the moment. But is there a hope? Where is that hope?
It's always going to revolve around 𝘁𝑚𝑖 and his ability to catch out a big carry, maybe someone like Slater. Big problem, of course, is 𝘁𝗏𝗏 is very, very far ahead, so he has big heals available to him. So it's going to have to be a one-shot, maybe even on the Yuumi as well, and then you can come back. So it's pretty much around picks and trying to get back into the game slowly. Percent has been good about this, especially at the start of the split. They were one of the most dangerous teams from behind when it came to picking off targets, when it came to coordination around just the mid game. So it is something Percent has shown us and they can do. Not sure if they are able to do it here in this composition though.
And then we
Flash
have
is just really...
a little bit of that Bard mechanic is stopping the charge, but it does not matter because you might have stopped Shelly's charge, but you did not stop Flash's as they go in, Ego and Yoshino, working that front line, the dynamic duo. Of course, Yoshino... Oh, no, Yoshino didn't even go down. What am I talking about? As this... I lost it there a little bit, as Ego is now getting bullied by YT, but he has to ult out as the reinforcements come. In the end, it's just tower damage. Of course, they opened up the mid lane as well.
Yep, one of Flash's #1 plays is just group mid lane, force the turrets, force the team fights. We are better in team fights, we are ahead in gold, so 5v5 is going to be in our favor, and it is. You can't really fault them for this. I criticized them last week a lot for only playing mid lane all the time, but in this situation, this state of the map, it's the correct play. You had Herald. You were able to break two more. The second turret actually survived because of Bard ult, of course. But 2 more kills to Ego. He's now a 5-0, 500 gold shutdown on this tank set. So a really big deal, really hard to deal with, of course, also for 𝗵𝗂𝗏, who has no means of actually cutting through all his armor.
Not a chance. He's gone for that Essence Reaver. We are bypassing the Mana Moon. Again, I still really question this 𝗁𝗂𝗍 build. It made a bit more sense when Style did it because there was a lot of AP on his team. Let's have a look at this fight.
He was ahead.
I lost it a little bit here, so I do want to see actually what happened.
Yeah, look at all the AoE abilities hitting from 𝘁𝗏𝗏 Slater behind, and then of course Yoshino and Ego tag team into the back line. So very nicely done there. 𝗁𝗏𝗏 didn't even use his ultimate. He still has his ultimate to zone people away from the turret. So 𝗁𝗏𝗏 actually really didn't do much in this fight. But good coordination from Slater, 𝘁𝗏𝗏, and Yoshino, and then Ego just ran in to finish the job. So I really like this team fight. Good lining up of abilities. They all have the same...
Oh, and look at him go. He's a quick lad. There's the redirect on the Ornn Horn, but it is Yoshino going gold because of the Bard. This could turn around, but this is a very fed set. They need to be careful. Yoshino kites. Well, not kites. He just runs. And, of course, he's Ornn, so he gets out.
And another misplay for 𝘂𝟎. It's his main. He's still misplaying his Bard Qs. That is not good to see. Messed up his ultimate. It was a little bit too late to stop the redirect, and then also messed up his Q. So this could have been a kill on Yoshino. In the end, it's only a turret in trade for another turret in the top lane.
Well,
not a successful play for Flash, but
we often
okay.
use a certain movie quote to describe 𝘂𝟎. I'm going to use another one. He did not hit her. He did not. Don't worry, people will get it. I know you don't, Yulwei, that doesn't matter. Didn't even give me a fake laugh this time for me to call you out on. Jeez! I know Vinnie would have gotten it. As there is the push from Flash up in the top side, taking down another tower, and it really does look like the death warrant has already been signed. They're just waiting for the execution.
Yeah, this game is very over. There isn't much Percent can do. Their composition is really not made to fight from behind, especially against the super strong Ezreal, because even if you manage to jump on top of him, are you going to be able to kill him? Look at his items. Look at the Yuumi. It's going to be so incredibly hard to kill this Ezreal, even if you're able to land CC on him. Not to mention 𝗁𝗏𝗏 also coming in with more control, with more damage as well. So I think this is very over, even though it's only a 5k gold deficit. We have seen throws from bigger things, but of course it's also 2 dragons for Flash. Percent wants to contest this one. Flip the team fight, not the worst call. You are very far behind anyway.
I mean, yeah, what else are you going to really do? They just give the Infernal Drake up. They just kind of watched. They didn't even push a lane out. Didn't try and sneak a Baron. Ugh, this is Little bit of waiting to die. I'm not sure what they expected to happen here. 𝗬𝗃 is going to go forward. The tower detonates under his paws. 𝘂𝗀𝗇 won't be able to get the Haymaker shield. So that's actually a lot of gold for Big 𝘁𝗀𝗺.
Yeah, nicely done. 𝘁cie was a little bit lost in transition there, wanted to catch a wave in the bot lane. Now 𝘁% are calling for the Baron. Very aggressive, of course. It was the enemy jungler going down. This is AD 𝗁𝗀. This is not Rageblade 𝗁𝗁, so her Baron damage isn't the greatest.
Very true.
And Yoshino still has ult. No, he doesn't have ultimate. Sorry.
He is taking a lot of damage here. Big 𝘁𝗁𝗺 dives over towards him. This Ornn will eventually get cut down. There it is. 𝘁cie, 𝗁𝗁𝗺, and 𝘁𝗏𝗏𝗏 with it all to do. Oh no, 𝗁𝗁𝗺 with the sombrero. He's bringing the tacos tonight. But regardless, the Baron is stopped.
Another kill to 𝘁%. They kind of got what they came for, close to the gold gap. Got a big shutdown, a lot of gold over to Big 𝘁𝗁𝗺, who has to carry the late game team fights, even though it's going to be hard on this champion into the enemy team composition. What I like about his build is he's actually going for the crit 𝗁𝗁𝗁, so full damage, and 𝘁𝗁𝗺 is dead.
Okay. 𝘁𝗁𝗺 just gets blown up. Why do I ever go to drink water? I can't drink water during the VCS. That's the rules.
Every single time you get caught out. So this could be a Baron. I guess Flash doesn't want to go for it. They have a tank. They could actually really go for Baron here and threaten that one with 𝘁𝗁𝗺. Okay, 𝘁𝗁𝗺 has teleport available, so probably made the call that they are not able to kill this Baron in time. Also with Yoshino heading bot lane, they would have had to invest this teleport. Would have liked to see a little bit of a damage check on the Baron, but it's okay to not do it.
They don't have the fastest Baron in the world. As here comes the Ram. They want to try and catch on to 𝗁𝗃 here. I don't know where Yoshino sent that one. As 𝘁𝗁𝗺 is gold. He can't deal damage quite yet. He comes out now and they're trying to kite away as they've been pinched in by 𝘁𝗁𝗺. This could be a big turn. 𝗁𝗃 gets the big slam. Can they get anything more done? There is so much healing out of this Yuumi. So much tankiness. And 𝘂𝗀𝗚 flies forward. Brings the pain. Power bombs everyone into the bottom of the ring. He's gone under the ring and brought out a steel chair and used it to get the double kill.
Now it's Purple Worm time. Now it's Baron. They needed 2 more kills. Of course, Eagle's actually still alive, has Flash and Smite available to contest. It's going to be super difficult into this Ezreal, into this Orianna, zoning him away, controlling the space. So this should be Baron, and that should be the beginning of the end for this game, at least.
It started off with a very strange Ornn from Yoshino. Not sure where. He was sending that one to Portugal. But regardless, it didn't matter. As the king of the pit brought down 𝘁%, brings down the worm, and I'm sure very soon 𝘂𝗀𝗚 will be throwing the last other member of the Royal Rumble over the top rope.
Let's see what actually happened, how they turned it around. When did they see the opportunity to go for the play? Yuumi jumps over to 𝘂𝗀𝗚 now, immediately, Flash ultimate into 5 members. Perfect E as well, and then he gets both of the kills. He deserved those kills for sure. That was perfectly executed from 𝘂𝗀𝗚. I like the combination of set Yuumi. Gives him a lot of extra movement speed and extra HP to work with, so kind of overcomes a few of Set's problems. So I'm really impressed by this combination. And 𝘂𝗀𝗚 is 7-1. He has taken all the kills himself. He is the big lad.
It's a shame we don't have cameras on during the games, because you would have been watching that Set play. It would have been like that Vince McMahon meme where he's got the laser eyes. Because I was about falling out of my chair watching that Set play. I love it.
Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah, doing a lot of damage.
And even for tanks, can have a big impact.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Are they going to try and finish here, or do they want to wait for the Soul to go for another push? Because Soul is coming up in 30 seconds as well, so there's a lot of different things Flash can play for. Pushing in bot lane to get another turret for Yoshino. Yoshino hit 2 more levels from the last time we saw him, so should be able to hand out a few upgrades now to his teammates, making them even stronger, looking at the gold lead, plus Ornn items, plus base scaling. This game is over.
Yeah, it is 100% over. 𝘁𝗁𝗺 is, look how cocky this is. He's just in the middle of the enemy jungler. He's in the middle of the enemy jungler as well, and he's ripped his way out of his chest as down goes 𝘂𝗀𝗚. Oh, this is a rough one here for Percent. They are miles down. There's just no way back. We are about to see Soul claimed. Dragon going down.
Other Infernal. So
Yep.
we really like our Infernal Souls today.
Bringing the
That's
heat.
good to see. I like that one.
Yep. Glory has been caught out here by 𝗁𝗏.
Bye-bye.
There's the shockwave. This one hits. He rips off the unleashed power, but it doesn't look particularly scary. There it is. Ornhorn as well. Goes straight through the uprights. That's 6 points, mate. As Ego
Field
now
goal.
charging forward. Finally, a Bard stun hit. Ego's actually under tower. Yoshino flashing forward. He gets everything there. 𝗁𝗏 will get the kill. And this is turned very
25
quickly
stacks.
into the final push. 25 stacks of that Medjai's for the cat. That is a well-read feline. And it makes sense, right? She's riding the book as Ego goes forward. This is dancing on the edge of that fountain. But Flash take out Percent, and they will take game 1. No problem whatsoever.
Just back every day. Flash is really here to play. They are here to get a second championship in a row. And this is the first game in round 2. And they are here to go 7-0.
Yep, that they are. And, sorry, just apparently my camera froze. But there we go. Now I can move. Hey, guys. That was a bloody game 1, but most of the blood was only flowing in one direction. We'll have to see if Percent can bounce back, or if it will be a Flash clean sweep to really show that they are back and here to win the split. We'll find out soon enough what our analysts think. We'll be back in just a few minutes, don't you worry. And we'll bring you possibly the final game of the week. Don't go anywhere, guys. We hope you are enjoying the show here on VCS English.
Now listen, fellow warriors, I ask you.
And welcome back to Game 2 of Flash vs. 𝘲, where we just saw Flash take it to 𝘲 and run them into the dirt, throw them off the Hell in a Cell, 5 feet into the announcer's table. My desk is broken. What do you think, Yulwei?
Yeah, what a performance from 𝘂𝗀𝗍. Very impressive stuff. I love the set jungle. Finally, we get to see it in the VCS as well. More, please. Flash, show me some more. You are looking really good.
Yes. So on the side of 𝘲, well, Eagle was looking a lot like the troll that lives under my bed. He did not exist. Do we bring in 𝗃𝗃𝗏, What do you think? Change it up?
It's a tough call. There's a reason they get with Eagle the first time. I'm pretty sure they had Eagle in the entire series they won the first time, but after that game 1, like you said, he felt pretty much invisible. Outside of that one gank in the mid lane where he got the 1 kill on Orianna for Syndra, which ended up being traded, I think, pretty much invisible the entire time. So I don't think it's completely unreasonable if they want to try 𝗃𝗃𝗏 here. I would rather see them make a change like that to try to win the series than stick with Eagle and just bleed out and die like they did in game number 1.
So cool.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with you, Rebel, and ask, what do you think about this 𝘁cie build? You always complain about enough in game. What do you think about this Dirk rush into Essence Reaver? I mean, my thoughts on it is, if you're going to just go into a Rage Blade anyway, why get the Dirk at all? Essence Reaver, Rage Blade, you've got your evolution. What do you think?
I think the intention behind going Dirk is A, you get the initial little cut of lethality, so it's helpful against champions with low armor. And second is you get your Q breakpoint a lot faster, which is the really big point about it. Is if you go double pickaxe, you have to wait until the level 12, level 13 breakpoint when you got your base AD high enough to get your Q upgrade. If you go Dirk into BF sword, you get it so much faster. And yes, your E evolve is a lot slower because you don't get Rage Blade as quickly. But certainly, if you're looking for kind of just like the auto attack base, wave clear, mid skirmish, just Q-bot, it's got to be the lethality build. Now, I don't agree with it in this particular situation. I think it's very situational in its own right. This was not the game for it, I don't think.
Okay. So then I'm going to throw over to our resident Bard expert and ask, can you defend Omnistone for us? Can you? Because I sure as hell can't.
Okay. I feel like Omnistone on Bard is okay. It's not that bad if you don't play as badly as Lisa did in the first game. Of course, I feel like a lot of Bards have just transitioned over to the more guaranteed rune, right? I think Omnistone still offers you the highest potential output because you get multiple very good runes on Bard. You have even lethal tempo can be quite nice. You can work with PTA maybe in a situation. Your Hail of Blades is super nice. Electrocute is very nice. You scale up with the Dark Harvest. So there's a lot of runes Bard really likes from this one. But I feel like we're moving, especially in pro games, it's just a little bit too volatile. I feel like it's still okay in solo queue, especially if you know how to make it work. But I feel like we should move away from it in pro games, especially as you saw in the last game, when the enemy team has a very, very strong bot lane duo that is going to exploit you for Conqueror. He changed over to Conqueror, immediately all in from Slater and Palette, and there was no chance for the Bard to do anything. He was just called out. Conqueror doesn't do anything for him. If he had Aftershock there, or let's say Guardian, maybe something like Glacial Augment would have helped, but not the Conqueror.
All right, so very quickly before we go into draft, what does 𝘲 need to do to change this up? Open question. I will go Rebel first. What does 𝘲 need?
It's a bit tough. I do think they need at least some sort of lane to play around. It felt like all of their lanes were so isolated and none of them got anything done. And then, of course, Eagle didn't help anything. And I don't think 𝗃𝗃𝗏 really changes that either. Ideally, you'd pick something with good wave clear out of mid lane or top lane that wants to teleport. I mean, you think of things that want to roam like 𝗀𝗀 could work, I guess, if you play something like 𝗀𝗀 out of mid lane. If you want to have some sort of wave clear to get around the map and you play an assassin type champion, you're capable of doing so. But again, that depends on the champion pools of who we're talking about. But you got to play around something. You can't just sit there and wait for your lanes to slowly die off as ego just runs the map.
All right, and Yulwei, while we're just watching the bans come through, because we're not throwing this time.
Well, yeah, I agree with most of the points. I also want to see a different ADC. I really don't like 𝗁cie right now, and she's so risky. I mean, I can see her work into Ezreal, but it's so risky to pull off, especially if you're the team that is prone to falling behind in the early game. Just go with something that just scales. Aphelios is open. He's a good Aphelios player. Just try to get Aphelios 200 years them later on in the game. You're a super good team fighting team, so I'd like to see that change in the bot lane.
Yeah, so, and we see from the bans, percent's taken away what made that Flash comp so good last time around. The set is on the bench. He is not coming in. And this time, Glory is not going to get the opportunity for his Zoe, even though he didn't actually pick it last time. So, Aphelios first pick. And matched by the virus. Now, we still know the bot lane matchup.
So we move one patch back for some reason in game 2. Game 1, everyone ignored Aphelios, so now Aphelios virus traded in the first rotation. The drafting has been a little bit strange in this week in the VCS, in my opinion. People are just changing priorities left, right, and center. But so we are back to territory we know, and I'm not sure if you love it. It's still Aphelios, so you can argue about that.
It is a 200 years we have seen time and time again, as opposed to a 200 years we have no idea about. 200 years of knowledge is better than 200 years of the unknown. And we are seeing a very 𝗏𝗏𝗺 champion picked, but it's still Eagle in. What do you think on that, Rebel?
I'm a little shocked. Again, I see the Graves and I'm like, okay, that's a 𝗏𝗏𝗺 champion, and Eagle's still sitting here, and I'm like, I guess maybe the thought process is if he gets nothing done on Trundle, the idea is just to try to farm against it, and maybe that's the idea here. They do have Varus now. If they pair that with another CC support, they could potentially look to play around bot side and around Dragon specifically. But I don't think that that's particularly strong, especially now because you've got the Aphelios Leona. You're in a really terrifying place where, like, you either have to draft really heavy protection for Varus, or you need something very aggressive to abuse the Leona. And either way, I don't think that that's a perfect setup for what percent typically looks for.
That is the protection. So I don't think it's the protection any one of us wanted to see, but it does fall into that protection category.
It's true. It's true. So what you're saying is Rebel was the one who initiated this one.
I'm gonna throw, I guess,
it's Rebel's fault. Oh no!
It is my fault. I apologize for jinxing the situation by forcing a 𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗀 upon us, especially in, like, a Leona, which, like, what are you gonna protect him through one rotation of spell? Like, you got another 2 or 3 CC moves after that once he gets spit out.
Yeah, it's also already a little bit of a disjointed composition, in my opinion, where Varus wants to poke from afar while Grace wants to go in. So I'm not sure where percent is going to go with this one. Maybe it poke mid lane and then Grace is just out there to do whatever. You can either go for Graves comp or for a Varus comp. I don't really see a comp where Varus and Graves like to play. So it's going to be an interesting one.
So unless this is the on-hit Varus, which does make which does sort of synergize a little bit better, I would imagine. And I would be expecting a Karma ban, perhaps, out of Flash to deny the Graves Karma from percent, which, though it is Eagle, percent as a whole has shown proficiency in playing around that.
Mm-hmm.
So if they go for Karma, it's a no CC comp, though, right? So once again, from behind, very hard to pilot. Very hard to make picks happen, very hard to do anything if you don't actually get into a good position. So I think the Karma is likely, as you pointed out, but I'm not sure if I like it.
Yeah, and with that on ban away, the CC problems become the obvious choice for CC becomes a distant memory. So, Rebel, looking at Flash's comp, what would you like to see them rounded out with, so we can ignore Percent's comp for that little bit longer as they continue to make me want to cry.
I actually really like Karma here specifically for Flash. I don't know if it's really a 𝗂𝗍 type champion to be able to play out of the mid lane, but I mean, it's good protection, good poke, would shut down literally any response that Glory has for the mid lane, and I really do think it does well. Plus, it opens you up to pick something for Yoshino that either synergizes with the team fight rather well, can dive in specifically with Leona, or you could even go 4-1. You could try to go something, I guess Aurelia would fit into that mold, where you could pull pressure away or team fight with it.
Yeah, I just thought about Karma Jax, but instead it's going to be Aurelia. So definitely like the Karma suggestion. Aurelia, of course, kind of Graves is happy with Aurelia, I guess, because she actually wants to fight in a close range. Ryze is of course the 𝗬𝗺 special, so that makes a lot of sense as well.
Okay.
He is incredible on this champion, by far the best Ryze player in our league, and we have so much damage on Team Flash's side. Wow, this is going to be explosive.
Yeah, around that level 16 mark, you have an Aphelios, you have a Ryze. There is, I think you're running out of, don't have a very long list of champions that do better at that mark than those two. And Percent rounds it out with a Volibear and an Azir for their solo lanes.
We have a lot of Azir last picks in the VCS, interestingly enough. In other leagues, we see Azir first picked, Azir blind picked. Here, he only really comes in as a last pick. He makes a lot of sense, in my opinion, into Ryze. A very good counter pick into Ryze. It's still surprising to me that a lot of people just last pick Azir here. Do you like the Azir? Do you like the Volibear, Rebel?
It's such a weird, disjointed composition. They went all the way through, because like you think about the lanes, and you've got like, okay, Volibear. Even if the champion isn't fantastic in certain minds, and I know you guys have had some distaste of the champion, I don't think it's terrible in the laning phase by any standard. I really do think that's where some of its strength can come with the W spam, things of that sort. E is one of the best abilities in the game. Azir, as you said, into the Ryze, really strong as well, and even like the Varus 𝗁 is really defensive and probably will at least be a mild struggle to solo kill. The problem is when you bring this together, I mean, your CC is loaded into the melee of Volibear and like an ultimate in Glory and an ultimate in 𝗁. Like that's pretty much what you've got, and you're playing into Palette's Leona. You've got Yoshino on of course the Aurelia. Then you've got 𝗁𝗁. So you've got really good spatial damage to work with, either from a very long distance or a very short distance for Flash. And the response from Percent is we've got 𝗁𝗁 to protect one of our many carries that will probably not have any CC to work with. Like I'm a little lost there.
All right. So with that said, before we toss it over to the casters, final thoughts. We'll start with Yulwei. Actually, we won't start with Yulwei. You're going to have the whole thing. Rebel, yeah.
Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts.
Oh, my thoughts? I think Percent has done a classic Percent in that they have basically just hit random 5 times, and that's how they pick their champions, because they are the worst team I have ever seen at drafting, and I can't believe I ever supported them at one point because I want to cry consistently. All right. That's my thoughts. I imagine Rebel has very similar ones because he just went through why he hates it. So Rebel, last two letters, and that's all we need. We know what it is.
Yeah, TF or FL, I guess is what it is.
Yeah, TF doesn't really explain much, I must say. Yeah, Flash for me too. Tossing it over to Everyday and the boy, Yulwei. Go for it, boys.
Thank you very much there, Vinny. I can hear the pain in your voice. I hope at least we can make the game fun to watch. I have to agree. I'm not too happy with what Percent has put together here. They are still sorely lacking a coach. Yulwei, what are your thoughts? How does Percent use this card? But no, you go ahead with what you want to say.
Okay. I want to go. I'll go there a second. But first, I want to actually point out the other possibility for Flash's composition. They have drafted 2 solo lanes that definitely can side lane. And side lane is something Flash hasn't been great about, but of course Yoshino is one of the best split pushers in the league. Last year even, of course, on 𝗀𝗄, he was famous for his Fiora in the side lane for bringing home all the victories. So I'm excited to see if Flash actually can make the next step, evolve even further, and add the side lane pressure to their arsenal and to their win conditions.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. I would love to see Flash continue to evolve. Their players are back in form. Now let's see if we can get their brains a bit further back in form. One thing I am happy to see, Big Coro, he's figured out that Varus was broken because of the lethality build, not the on-hit build. Truly one of the smartest ADCs in the VCS, apparently, as he is going to be going lethality, has that comment. Glad to see it. But
good job.
Flash has 2 modes, and I feel like both modes are better than %. But what can they do?
So if % is going to win this game, it's all going to be Glory. And we've said this maybe a little bit too often.
Yeah, we
the
can
Glory
have a
hype.
soundboard at this time. Save your voice.
It's true. But once again, they last picked mid lane. They last picked 𝗁𝗲, as I talked about in draft. Last picking 𝗁𝗲 is something we haven't really seen much in other regions, especially Western regions, where he's much more of a blind pick. But 𝗁𝗲 shuts down a lot of what Flash wants to do in team fights. Irelia really doesn't want to play against 𝗁𝗲 wall. Ego struggles to jump in, even if he hits a spear. Then 𝗁𝗏 is completely nullified in team fights, and even Slater doesn't have the greatest matchup. So if Glory plays this not like PhD, because PhD's 𝗁𝗲 yesterday was not what we want to see, as the junglers clash, and Ego has the level lead on Ego.
Yeah, he does, but the smoke screen is down. Can he chase the cat down? It's going to be a little bit difficult, and no, he lets him go, but that's our first clash.
So to quickly finish my point, I don't want to take too long here, but if Glory is able to push away all the engage from Flash, he could be the main carry. Then even Big Coro can come in from behind with a little bit of added poke. So I think that is the main thing % want to play for. Just stall, try to get to the items for 𝗁𝗲, and let him have the show, let him have the stage to really bring this one home for %.
Yep, that is very promising, as Eagle will go for a little bit of an invade here. Won't find any camps yet. As down in the bot side, 𝗁𝗏 is going in. Okay, fair enough. Interesting.
Going for
oh,
a few
goes
trades,
again
but now
as
she's
soon as
back.
it's off cooldown, and now there's a jungler here. Flashes have been burned. Lisa trying to get out. They do manage it, but it's a lot of summoners.
Yeah, it is the flash blown for Lisa, so now, and for Big Coro too, so now they have to be super careful, especially from the 𝗁𝗏 roams. He is very much a roamer on the rise. He likes to go for the level 6 surprise gank. Not super surprising anymore, as he has pulled it off many, many times. Can we see it again?
We could, as he is obviously waiting here. Sorry, I was just sorting something out. I was a little bit distracted. Thank you for covering for me. As this wave does crash into the tower, the jungle's back off.
This has cost Ego a lot. Ego played a very, very team-focused style here on Nidalee, which is quite surprising, because of course Nidalee, very selfish jungler, likes to go for an acceleration in the early game, likes to really power farm for a lot of times. And he's now 12 CS, so 3 camps behind Eagle. Eagle used the time to invade topside, and now there's a very sad cat in the topside, just finding her whole jungle empty. She's a level down compared to Eagle, so Ego in a bad position for the first time this series.
He is. There will be another jungle clash at the chickens, but Eagle is level 5 and the Graves to just the level 4 Nidalee. I think he's even having a little dance on him. Oh no, this is a sad kitty. You hate to see it. Come on, give Ego
very
a little,
smartly played for Eagle. Yeah. Ego played this with a lot of patience that someone like 𝗁𝗏 might have not been able to show. So Ego didn't actually go for the didn't try to fight the Raptors while Ego wanted to go for the steal, because he knew, or he probably knew, that Ego would have smite available and he didn't have smite. So he just tried to zone him away to secure this camp for sure, and that was very well done. So Ego is pushed even further down. He wants to go for the bot lane dive again, because if he gets killed, the experience disadvantage doesn't really matter too much.
Of course, but we have to be looking up at this top lane, as there is level 6 on both of the laners. The jungler approaching. Flash will get a dragon for sure, but can they use the 𝗁𝗏𝗺 ult to get a dive? Looks like they're going to call it off.
Very dangerous. With Graves, we talk about him being bad at dice all the time. Then 𝘁𝗏 also has his ult to slow people down. It's a very dangerous dive. They still want to make it happen.
Ooh, they are going to go forward. There is the ult coming out. There's the tower being turned off. And Yoshino has to go into the minions. And he goes down easy.
Yep, not a dangerous dive at all. Very nicely done. I feel like Yoshino overextended there a little bit. Should have waited with the ultimate and either used it to disengage or try to get a counter kill after the dive happens. Instead, 𝗬𝗺𝗺 coming in.
𝗬𝗺 potentially got a little bit greedy to go for the minions here as in come the boys of Flash. He's trying to get away. Eagle drops the ult and the smoke screen to try and make distance, but you can put all the thumbs up you want. He can't quite get away, but now Glory arrives. 𝗬𝗺's got a trade kill on the other side, and it's all gone wrong for Flash as % are picking up kills. 𝗬𝗺 charging in. Does he want Ego under the tower? He definitely does. The Realm Warp gets 𝗁𝗺 out, I should say. And Ego lives.
What a close affair there, and they completely disregarded 𝗬𝗺's damage. Yoshino was left alone with 𝗬𝗺, and 𝗬𝗺 just ate him. That was not even close. He turned around, he just ate him. Very, very, very painful death here for Yoshino, as we can see. Look at 𝗬𝗺 and how he just basically one combos Yoshino.
He lives for so long, though.
Yeah. And Yoshino can't get over the wall. Look at that damage from 𝗬𝗺. Yoshino realized way too late that he's actually in danger of dying, and 𝗬𝗺's third W secures the kill.
Mm-hmm. It was very close.
Now this Volibear is very far ahead.
Well. Yeah, this is now scary. We may finally see the promised top lane Volibear. He's going Triforce. Of course, we flame the top lane Volibear. Most of the time, it's because they go full tank. If you're playing top lane Volibear, you've got to go the Triforce. You need a bit of damage. So I'm happy to see the VCS top lane is finally learning that lesson at least. But now, Yoshino's having to go farm a Gromp because he knows he can't really enter lane.
Look at all the numbers on these scoreboards. Every single position is ahead in CS. Okay, support. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Every other position than support is actually far ahead in CS. Look at this. Bot lane, 16 CS. Mid lane, around 10. Jungle still 3 camps, and top lane is a lead as well, even though he's farming his jungler's camps now as well. So very big lead for Percent as we can see in the gold. It's almost 2k with a 2-for-1 kill score, so definitely not only coming from the kills.
Yeah.
And can Flash make something happen to get back into this game in bot lane? Ego is trying to do some alcove gaming.
He hops over from the alcove, but I think they're calling it off now. Ego's now been spotted, and it's going to be traded for the free Rift Herald. So Percent, I'm going to say something that doesn't get said much. Having a great early game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday they showed us some potential against OPG, but of course you always have to take it with a grain of salt against OPG. They are not the greatest team ever. And now it's a very easy setup to just get top turret. What is Yoshino doing?
Yoshino is dead again. What is going on here? He just got wrecked. Like, there was no
just
chance.
Completely disrespecting the Volibear. Yeah, there was a solo kill, by the way.
Yeah.
The Volibear didn't even have to flash or anything. It was very obvious that this would be enough to kill him. Yoshino, no mana, no ultimate left to disengage. Mm-hmm. This will be even more gold now in 𝗬𝗺's pockets. This Volibear is going to be hard to deal with.
Are we finally seeing our first grizzly bear Yulwei? We've seen a lot of koalas, a couple brown bears, but I think we might be finally moving to the grizzlies. Oh, but in the mid lane, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 misses the E, but hits the solar flare. Glory puts up the wall. He's got the dancing shoes on, but can this bird spread his wings? He's going to have to fly far and fast as he's trying to get to his bot lane. The 𝗬𝗺 is desperately running in, grabs him up into the belly, but it might just be buying time as the Moonlight Vigil comes out to guarantee it. And 𝗬𝗺 might now be saying, oh, why did I come help? But look at 𝗏𝗏𝗺 and Slater. 𝗏𝗏𝗺 doesn't finish the kill off. I think he could have done it there, but 𝗬𝗺 still on the run. But this fish can't swim fast enough. Or can he? Oh, no! The spear comes in, a bit of spear fishing. But look who's arrived! It's more animals here in the barnyard as 𝗬𝗺 arrives down in this bot lane and he rips 𝗬𝗺 in half.
Oh god, Trinity does so much damage. That was insane. He had 400 HP, and that was one shot. Holy moly. 𝗬𝗺 is the main carry in this game. We doubted that 𝗬𝗺 on the analyst desk. I'm really not sure why 𝗏𝗏𝗺 didn't go for the kill, by the way. He had him 100% of the time.
I'm not 100% sure what happened there.
He had flash and heal available, so they're very strange. But in the end, it doesn't really matter too much because 𝗬𝗺 salvages the situation anyway. A very strange one. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 missing both of his big skill shots. He really didn't expect 𝗏𝗏𝗏 to stun him there. So there was miscommunication between the two because 𝗏𝗏𝗏's skill shots were aimed at the place 𝗏𝗏𝗏 would have landed if he moved further forward. So where does the TP actually come in for YT? I didn't spot that.
He's backing
Also,
now. What is like? Why do you not finish the kill here?
Do you not go for the kill?
I don't understand.
Weird enough.
So the TP
So he's
is
backing.
started
He's
now.
backing. Yeah, there we go. He only gets 1 kill for this one, so it might actually not be worth GTP here for YT in the end, because he gave a lot of time to Yoshino.
There's a lot of assists on that as well, though. I think it helps his team a lot.
W. That was a lot of damage. So 4-0. He's going to be the first polar bear we had the whole season so far. A lot of
ego, you don't want that. Oh, and he's just going to chase him over. It's a 1v2. This might have been one bridge too far, but of course it's not, as the bear goes raw. 𝗁𝗏 fails the flash, and will YT keep going? No, Yoshino is the one thing he fears, apparently. Oh boy, this is a big boy bear.
Flash is really doesn't know what to do against this Volibear, and just ignore him. Just try to have Yoshino farm out the lane. You don't want to fight around this very strong early game champion. He's one of the strongest early game champs in the game, especially with the 4-0 lead. He's so incredibly strong. So just wait for him to scale, because he doesn't scale, and wait for your champs to scale. So you can actually fight him and kill him. The Rice, and 2 items or 3 items, he kills him there, but not on 1 item. So bad decisions made around the Volibear. All 5 kills in the pockets of YT, which is quite dangerous, because if you team fight without YT, if YT gets caught or something, then suddenly the lead is actually not there anymore. So Percent has to be careful, but the 3k gold lead at 13 minutes, 14 minutes, is quite big.
Yeah, it's very true. We have to actually see YT snowball this lead into the rest of his team. Currently, obviously, it is just him being ahead. But that said, there is a farm lead in both the other lanes and the jungle, so it's not like the rest of Percent is doing badly. Oh, and welcome to the bot lane, where we've got Chains of Corruption. They don't hit, of course, and now 𝗃𝗏 trying to find a way out. Teleport's being committed from both top laners. No, that's actually Glory arriving. 𝗃𝗏 very, very low, and the piercing arrow hits him from downtown.
And we are very quickly approaching territory where Flash can't come back anymore. Too many places where they can just get baited into fighting. They are so far down.
Ego very far forward here. Put up the wall. There's no escape. And that cat's going to need her 9 lives.
Sand is fighting back. Red side mid-game team fighting strikes again. Today seems to be a very, very obvious day for the winning side. Red side definitely dominated so far. But this is now an even bigger lead, 5k, almost 6k with the turret falling here. So how can Flash stall this out? They need to chill. They need to get back. They need to farm their lanes. They need to get to 2 items. They have secured 1 dragon, so they are not really pressed to go for the next contest for the next 2 dragons. I think just farm for 10 minutes and then try to fight for the last one. Try to contest the soul. And at that point, Slater should have 2 items. 𝗁𝗏 should have reached his 2-item power spike. So you actually have a chance there.
You do. There is definitely a chance. But the problem is you are playing a little bit of a 4v5 at the moment, as Yoshino is going to struggle to have an impact. But Glory might be feeling the impact here, as he is completely caught out. He puts on the skates, but unfortunately goes an inch too far, trips on the ice and cuts his little noggin.
Oh, that was so sad. That was so sad. That looked so cool, and then he's in turret range. It's like,
as the owner of a bird, I have very often seen Rakan take off, do some glorious turns, and then bonk his head on the wall. So I can attest to that being very realistic. But this will be Flash picking up this Rift Herald. It's the second one. There are no tower plates, but it's still a good swing back. Oh no, YT's charging. Yoshino uses the flawless duet, but there's the big bear ult. They're not even showing it. They don't want to put it on stream, but it's surprisingly close, as he actually only just kills Yoshino there.
So I think if Yoshino had ult there, he would have killed him, because the with the ultimate, maybe not, but that was super close. So Yoshino actually knowing his damage range almost perfectly, shutting down the 5-0 Volibear. In the end, it's still another kill over to him. And I mean, Yoshino isn't going to struggle for the rest of the game, most likely, because he's so far down in items, so far down in gold. And this opens up another mid lane turret for Percent. So almost a turnaround in this game, but not good enough. And we're going to see a big lead in the mid game. So
the buffs matter here. The blue buff.
Oh, and they both have red buff though. So Yoshino is very quickly stacked on full passive, so he gets a lot of regeneration going. This one was very close. The minions also contributing a little bit of damage there.
Yeah,
I'd like to see this. Flash just resetting.
Yep, I give this dragon up. You do not need to contest it. The other thing Yoshino did there is he timed his W really well when the volley ult was coming in. Yoshino played that almost perfectly. He was just against a 5-0 volley bear. Like, you can do everything you want, dude. It's like playing Riven into a 10-0 𝗁𝗀𝗻. Do everything you want, dude. I'm just going to bonk you.
Yeah. But it was surprisingly close. So maybe there is a chance later on in the game. I'm not quite familiar with the matchup enough to say there will be a turning point in terms of items. I would probably guess that it's too far removed, especially if the Volibear moves into tank items later on. I feel like a Bramble Vest will really help him win the fights even later on in the game. But of course, 5-6 item earlier might be able to cut him down. So that's far away though, and I'm not sure we're getting there this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a failure from % if we do get there. And honestly, if we're getting to 5 or 6 items, it's not really Irelia I'm watching. It's the man on the screen right now, 𝘁cie𝗱𝗆. We know what a late gamer 𝘁𝗀𝗆 can do. I don't think % really wants to tangle with that one. They want to keep the car accelerating, fly on down the highway, and try and find the danger zone as fast as possible.
Absolutely. Bot lane also now both mid laners going there to farm. We see 188 to 186 farm, very high numbers for 18 minutes. And another engage on YT.
They're going to try it again. They've brought a lot of people up to try and help out. I don't think he's going to survive long enough for Eagle to get here. Well, he does survive it long enough to get there. It's not quite enough, though. Ego, very low. Lisa now arrives. Can they get enough of an angle? This is Yoshino cutting the wave, but they're going to call in a teleport. This is now a 3v4. Ego, of course, still bleeding. Piercing arrow whips across the team. There's a Zenith Blade landing. Realm Warp forward. No one's in it. Another piercing arrow. Slater approaching from the bottom side. I think both teams need to call this off.
Let's reach for something there, almost able to get it. That would have been a big swing. In the end, it's only the shutdown, and the kill went over to Ego, not to Yoshino, the designated target. 𝘁cie also forced to flash away.
No.
Ego might just
Ego gets a little bit greedy for his blue buff, but Eagle, in fact, is the one with the greed, as he goes far too deep. The piercing arrow. Lethality Varus, everybody. It's a thing. The big shuffle. The bird spreads his wings and caw gets the bear too. A bird and a bear teaming up, you love to see it. As there we
punish Flash big time in this team fight. Afterwards, it's 20 minutes. Can they go for Baron? The pings are coming in. Oh, it's Lethality Varus, and Lori is on low mana. Of course, he has the blue buff, but it might still not be enough to summon 3 soldiers consistently.
I think they've got.
It looks like they have the damage here. This should be Baron. This should really break open the game.
Yeah. And that last play really did confirm the old adage that a bird in the mid is worth 2 in the bear. Aha.
I like that one.
Thank you. Real laughter for once. Whoa! As Yoshino does get a little bit of farm down on this bot side, but it's Baron for %. They are in full control. And what do you want them to get from this Baron? What is their goal?
They have one of the strongest turret divers in the game, of course, also scaling on with turret damage. So I think they can just force their way into one of the turrets and get at least one inhibitor. Let's look at how Ego dies in the end. Ego slightly too far forward and dies for that one. Yeah. But another piercing arrow. Actually, 𝗵𝗂𝗆 was the unsung hero in this fight. Doesn't look as cool, but he hits every single arrow. Also, starting at this top side, actually deterred the re-engage from Flash with so many piercing arrows landing. And then 𝘁cie knows he has a lot of damage, but there's still so much more on the other side.
Slater also kind of entered there. Glory was actually only going for the shuffle on one member, but Slater just was like, oh, I'm going to come out of the bay. Oh, no. And he just gets scooped up with him, giving an extra kill over. Not what you want. But it is % looking really hot. Really hot. Let's be real. Where was this
So I
last
want to
game?
shout out Flash.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I want to shout out Flash for actually not falling over, rolling over and just not doing anything. They try to go for plays. So far hasn't really succeeded. So not quite enough to get back into the game, but still proactive and trying to get back here with picks, with proactive moves. Now they have to kind of somehow weather the storm. Not sure if they can do it. 𝘁cie is still so far away from his item spikes, and 𝘁𝗃 is also still far away from level 16, so it's going to be a very difficult not last stand, but stand against this Baron. 𝗁𝗃 can always just look for a dive.
Yoshino's in so much trouble. The damage from the 𝘂𝗲. Ooh, not quite finished off. That last piercing arrow did just miss. This is now the push in. 𝗁𝗃 is under siege. Will be broken, of course. Flash, you've got a lot of questions to answer. And I don't think they've done the practice exams, I'm going to be honest.
So they still will buy a little bit of time now with the soul too far away. Baron will also, the Baron buff will wait. So next Baron is only going to spawn in 3 minutes, which is not enough time to really get to item spikes, but at least some time. Hopefully enough time for 𝘁cie to farm his second item. Then we have a last stand around the Baron, around the soul. Flash is very far away from winning this game, but there at least is one last chance with both of their hyper carries on 2 of their best champs, especially when it comes to 𝘁𝗃.
Yeah, it's true. 𝘁𝗃 could still get the job done, is 2 levels away from that big level 16 rise power spike, but does have 2 items. 𝗂𝗃𝗆os is really in a lot of trouble here. This is part of the power of the lethality Varus. His build is so cheap. And he's miles ahead in gold. He's already got 2.5 items complete, plus an executioners, while 𝘁cie is still desperately trying to get his hurricane together. I just don't think there's damage parity out of these ADCs at the moment. So how does Flash... I mean, I guess your point, they have a bit of time, but is it enough?
Yeah, I don't think so. It's very low probability. We see some of the items coming in finally. So with every item, the difference between 2 items and 3 items is insignificant compared to the difference between 1 item and 2 items. So especially for champs who scale linearly with items. So it's or exponentially is the word I wanted to go for. Sorry. Mm-hmm. So there is a little bit of a difference, of course, with 𝗂𝗃𝗆's itemization compared to 𝗵𝗂𝗆's itemization on the Varus. So 2 items on 𝗂𝗃𝗆's might be a little bit stronger than 2 items on Varus, and in certain situations, in certain circumstances, even stronger than 3 items on Varus. So 𝘁cie is finally here. He has to be the hero. 𝘁𝗃, I mean, has a lot of damage under his belt, but his range is really letting him down this game. So I think it's all on 𝘁cie, and so far this game hasn't been the greatest from him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very difficult. Obviously, we talk about, never run at an 𝗂𝗃𝗆os. If you have to run at the 𝗂𝗃𝗆os, he's going to kill you. I think volibear can do it this game, not going to lie. I think he's allowed to run at the 𝗂𝗃𝗆os. He's a pretty big boy. It's going to be very hard for 𝘁cie to deal with that, of course, if any champ is going to do it. But here's the engage. This is a good one. They've actually caught percent split. They pull the trigger early. Eagle does a lot of damage, though. They're kiting away. Big Koro whips another arrow. Doesn't do any damage, but forces the Zhonya's. 𝗁𝗃, can he get out? He certainly can. They're going to try and turn this around with a bit of poke. But in the end, everyone disengages.
And that's such a big problem for Flash. They actually won this team fight pretty easily, but the problem is they can't chase afterwards. They can't really get in to finish the kills, so everyone just gets away from percent. In the end, there is no gold to be collected, no shutdowns to be had or collected to be secured by Flash, I guess. So in the end, even though they win a fight, it's not going to amount to much in terms of gold. And that's going to happen again and again, because they just can't chase into Smokescreen, into Varus especially, and of course into 𝗁𝗍. So Flash kind of has to rely on percent to run into them and overextend into a turret, and then everyone can just maybe 200 years happens, or maybe Ryze gets a huge AoE. So it's really not in their control anymore to win this game.
That's it.
And in 2 minutes, the soul will spawn.
The longer the game goes, the bigger that opportunity does grow. We were talking about how we didn't really like percent's composition. Obviously, it's working out, mostly off those early game heroics out of 𝗁𝗃. He's still huge. 8-1 on this bear, as he's got the 3 items complete. Percent, start up the Baron.
Not wasting any time.
Yeah.
It spawned instantly on the Baron and Flash is too far away. So easy secure, more gold in their pockets, more buffs, more stats. Percent is playing textbook style, very successfully so. They only have to break one more inhibitor to really make this work. I don't think they need all three. They can just jump in with 𝗁𝗚𝗺 level 17, so level 3 ultimate, just get on top of both of the Nexus turrets, deal like 800 damage to both of them, and then, yeah, you just finish the game. It's pretty easy to do that from a hat with 𝗁𝗚𝗺, so that's something he can definitely offer.
Yep, at the moment he is just pushing down the top wave while Percent wait for their next waves to arrive. They have a sun disc to fall back to make it even harder for Flash. 𝗵𝗺 is going to go in, instantly gets scooped back in the wall. The engage is going a little bit weird. There is the already dead Leona, 𝗁𝗺 on the side, lurking and ready. Lots of damage coming out of 𝘁𝗺. He's whipping those crits across the team. 𝘂𝗀𝗻 trying
60.
to fend off the bear. Can't do much damage yet. Turrets, cannons continue firing at the turret, I should say. As Percent hold out the push, the siege continues.
𝗂𝗀𝗺 low on mana. He needs the blue buff to really continue the siege. 𝘁𝗺 is dealing some damage. He's level 16, so 100% extra damage on his Q,
Eagle
even though his
moves forward
AP
onto
numbers.
𝘁𝗁, does a lot of damage to him. He pops the shield and has to go back to base. The inhibs have been breached.
That's 2 inhibs down. They have good wave clear on Flash's side, so it's definitely going to take another push for Percent. But now the Ocean Dragon is there, and they are already on it. Very nice rotation from Lisa and Eagle to really get on top of that. No time to contest. So it's going to be Ocean Soul on top of all the extra damage at gold.
Yeah, this is a bit of a disaster. Of course, Flash does have burst. Ocean Drake Soul doesn't do a huge amount against Rise if he's just blowing you up. The healing just isn't fast enough. But it's going to make this 𝗁𝗚𝗺 just immortal.
I mean, there's already a book, a forbidden book,
true.
for 𝘁𝗁. So he actually opted into that before the Ocean Soul was secured. Might be a little bit of a mistake, but now coming in handy.
Look who it is. Look how quick he is.
Oh,
he's already
1,000.
gone, big boy. And now he's trying to carve up 𝘂𝗀𝗻. There's the wall. And that is a dead 𝘂𝗻𝗺 not having an impact this game, 𝘂𝗀𝗻, unfortunately. Now Eagle's chasing forward onto Egos. Flashes forward, gets the smoke screen. He's whipping out these shotgun shells. He throws the collateral damage. It's not quite enough. Ooh, that comet might have been it, but not quite. And with that pick, Percent continue the siege.
And this is the third inhibitor. Oh no, the second inhibitor falling. Force respawning in bot lane. 𝘁𝗺 did a good job pushing on mid wave, so they can't really sync up their waves too well. They have to wait for top lane to come in.
Inhib
And this might be.
for a moment. It's dead.
Yeah, they are still here to push this down. So, do they want to finish through bot lane now?
Looks
It seems
like
like
it.
that's the call.
They're hitting
𝗁𝗺
onto
no
the
ultimate.
tower. Yep, 𝗁𝗺 needs to approach. Piercing arrow misses. Now 𝘂𝗀𝗻 is respawned. It's a 5v5. One tower to keep in mind. It's just wave clear city right now.
So much poke coming down from Percent. It's so hard to deal with the Flash. They can't really. Oh, look at that. They can't really hide behind their turrets anymore.
Oh, there's a collateral damage to force them all back to the fountain. This should be able to get this tower burst down. There's a Realm Warp being used. This is the last hurrah. 𝗵𝗺 enters the backline, but here comes the bear. Jumping in. There's a big wall on the other side. Ego is going to go down. 𝘁𝗁𝗺 was already dead. It's a double kill for glory. 𝘂𝗀𝗻 has to go gold in his own base. Percent wants some extra kills, but they will take game 2 and bring us to a very unexpected game number 3. As they get the Nexus. Come on, lads. I can't keep this hype up forever. There it is. Finally. Flash will go down in game 2. Percent get the win. And we have
Performance.
a game 3 on our hands. Yulwei. We've got to keep going. We thought we might be getting an early night. But no. Percent fire back. And we will be
games like these, that is very welcome. I like to see that a lot. The top lane 𝗁𝗚𝗺 is finally looking super, super strong. There we go.
Absolutely. And we will be back in just a few minutes. We will have our analysts back. You don't have to put up with me, I promise. To break down what happened in game 2 and give our expectations for game 3. Don't go anywhere, guys. We hope you are enjoying the show here on VCS English. Do give us any feedback you have. Should join our Discord community. It's below the stream. We're trying some new things. We want to make sure they're working. So give us your feedback. You're our best judge. We will be back very, very soon. We hope you are enjoying.
The era of metal has begun, and metal shall prevail. For we know what they have done. 5 legends of our realm who sought to follow the path of their dark musings. But they did not know what they had summoned. Pentakill. To these creatures, there is but one thing left to do. Heavy metal.
Approaching our gates, we cannot
And welcome back to Game 3 of Flash versus 𝘃, where 𝘃 makes an amazing comeback win against Flash. And I don't think anyone expected that. Nothing that clean, certainly. Yeah, Rebel, what went wrong for Flash?
So first off, I think top lane fell apart. I think that was pretty obvious for everybody to see that the 𝗲𝗺𝗺 just kind of got to a destructive state. We talked about the jungle pathing. Ego got caught early with his hand in the cookie jar, and it didn't lead to a death, but it certainly led to him being slowed down in terms of his clear speed, especially compared to Eagle, who he dominated in game number 1. And then even when it came to later game stuff, where you're talking about like team fighting, I thought Palett's Leona was a mess. I think I saw him miss outright more Leona ultimates than he actually tagged anybody with, let alone stunned anyone with, which was problematic. So a little bit of stuff to fix for game number 3.
Yeah, weirdly enough, even though we criticized the composition for being disjointed and kind of doing different things, it worked out in the end, because YT got so fat that he could just jump in disregarding everything. And when he wanted to run out, the Azir and the Varus were there for him to cover his exit, right? They just poked, and no one could follow into the choke point against Azir, against Varus. So actually working out in the end, I still feel like Grace, I mean, he had a good early game, but in the end he didn't add much to the game. But the 𝗲𝗺𝗺 actually finally looking like a very good champion if he gets ahead.
I think Graves did provide something. He gave that bear a good dive buddy to jump in with.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't. I mean, one bear in your face is hard enough. It's even worse with 2. So yeah. I've lost my train of thought. Okay. But yeah, so with that, I still think the time coach didn't do much. But that doesn't matter. That's last game. We're draft now. Although I guess we still have bans to go through. Let's just 𝘃 seems to be performing better when their draft to us looks worse. That's what keeps happening in my mind. So, do we want to see a bad draft? Do we want to see a good draft? I don't know. What do you
think? They actually know how to draft well? I don't know.
I don't know. What do you want to see out of Flash, Yulwei? How do they come back from it? What do we want to see?
I like the Ezreal. I think today Slater has looked weird on the Aphelios, so just go back to Ezreal. I feel like he had a very good first game together with 𝘃. Opens up the Yuumi possibility too. 𝘃 is a very good Yuumi player. So yeah, just go back to Ezreal. I feel like that's going to be where Flash wants to go, and then maybe shy away from the Ryze too, because Ryze is kind of hard to play into all the control mages 𝘁𝑚 has. So yeah, let's see if they follow that late.
And we're back on 10-11 because that's a Varus first pick. Rebel, what do we want to see out of 𝘃? More of the same?
The big thing from 𝘃, I think, is just the fact that in game number 2, it felt like they had responses to things, and in game 1, they felt like that. In game 2, they felt like they had no response to anything. Like the Nidalee in the jungle, the Aurelia in the top lane, plenty of things. It felt like maybe even if the pick was right, they didn't have the response. So I want to see them use the 2 counter picks you get guaranteed at the end of their first pick phase and, of course, their last pick phase to get things that are both comfortable and maybe fit compositionally, but more important, things that are comfortable into 𝘃. Because 𝘃, they dominated the early game. So if you get things that you like to play, if you get things that you're strong on, that should be very helpful.
And so we see that the Ezreal is locked in, making Yulwei a very happy big brain boy. And the Trundle for Ego, providing that CC that we felt was missing in that second game from the jungle position. In the form of
Trundle priority is actually very smart against Eagle, because this forces him on farming on a carry jungler. And as Rebel has pointed out in the very pre-game before we started this one, that's not really Eagle's style. Of course, Eagle looked good in the last game, but holistically looking at the whole split, he's still more of the facilitating the utility jungler, the tank jungler. So I feel like taking away the Trundle put him into a bad position and put 𝘃 into a position where they now have to go the Nidalee route.
Yeah, and 𝘃's going to round out that bot lane with the Thresh. So far, we've got a decent start for for a similar composition to what we had last time, with a lot of long range poke coming out the side of percent, and Flash is also going to go back to the tried and true Ezreal Yuumi bot lane. So what do we think? Go for it. No, go for it.
I like the Thresh grab. I think it's really good with something like Varus because Varus is relatively immobile. If you're going to be running like a siege engine lethality type build, trying to hit people from backline, if somebody were to engage on him, then that would be Thresh's job to pull them away. I actually thought that was something coming into the series, so it's going to be important. My fear at the moment for Flash is they don't really have great backline access yet. The Trundle pillar is nice, especially if he gets in their face with the Yuumi, but they need a little bit better dive potential, or at least somebody who can bridge the gap a little faster than just simply running at them with a death ball like Trundle.
I feel like there are two options for Flash here. They could either go with a little bit of dive in the last two picks, or they could double down on long range and try to outpoke the Varus. Jace comes to mind, maybe something like AP. Okay, that's not an option, of course. Trundle already picked, but yeah, maybe Jace Yoshino or Jace for 𝘁𝗏. We could also see something. I mean, poke mages aren't really in the meta, but you could go Zoe here, even though it's not really a 𝘁𝗏 champion. So I feel like that's also an option. If you want to go dive, I guess Galio comes to mind. Galio, and then maybe something like Camille Galio for the full-on wombo combo on the very immobile enemy AD carry. That could be an option.
Now, you say AP Shyvana is a no-go, but I think a certain Buffalo mid laner would disagree with that. I do think that's not going to be the case. I personally would like to see on the side of percent that Zoe lock-in, as that is available, and it is, and I think
if this is going to be Camille Galio,
it's going to be Camille Galio. I
Holy
think you're right there, unless we want to see Glories just steal that away. But
yeah. It really doesn't make sense to me to pick Camille first if you want to pick Camille Galio. That's super weird. You have last pick, and Galio is not going to be a counter pick, so just keep the Camille concealed and just pick Galio first, and then a counter pick with Camille. Now you opened up the counter matchup with Renekton. Very strange draft. So now mid lane last pick. You could pivot into something like Kassadin into Galio, but
however, this has denied that Glory Zoe, which I was just about to say. Glory is the best Zoe in the VCS, without a doubt. And you've stopped that. And yeah, there's your mid lane matchup. So, overall, Rebel, what do you think of percent's comp with those last two lock-ins? Obviously, the Galio's the takeaway, but
yeah, the takeaway of the Galio is pretty good, especially since you've now removed another threat to throw alongside Camille, and you get a good matchup for YT. And obviously, he showed in the last game just how good he could play when he had that advantageous matchup on the top side. In fact, I think honestly, top to bottom, their composition is rather strong. I think they struggle really hard late. If you take them to 25-30 minutes, maybe their damage starts to fall off a little bit, but outside of that, this is a really good composition. They've got good engage, good disengage, they've got good damage from a solid range to work with, and really good frontliners in the Renekton and the Galio.
And
I definitely agree. This looks a little bit like EVOS to me. This would be an EVOS composition. Like strong lanes all around, a lot of early game pressure, super strong early mid game. So it's a little bit different in percent, but I like it. It's interesting. They had a very good early game in the last game, right? So
that is correct. So overall, Rebel, we've got one question for you.
Yeah.
Give us an overview. What do you think? How do you think this game's going to play out, and who do you think is going to take it?
I think Percent has designed themselves a fantastic composition that I think any team pretty much anywhere could win with. And given the fact that they are terrible at drafting and then they succeed, I'm going to have to go with the opposite. So I think Team Flash takes this one because they can't play.
Nice.
Fair enough. So we're tossing it over to you every day. Take us away.
Thank you once more, Vinny. Look at that. Welcome to the Sepia Rift. If you'd only waited just a few more moments, Vinny, I could have kept chilling out while we sorted out the pause. But of course, hopefully this pause does get resolved quickly. We don't want to sit waiting for too long. Yulwei, how do you think about this percent comp? You said it was one they have to kind of execute in the early mid game, which is weird for percent, but they did that last game. So do you have confidence in them?
Oh, it's so hard to call. It's so hard to call. The teams seem to be evenly matched today. I'm kind of with Rebel here. I'm a little bit too... the composition is a little bit too good to be true for percent.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's going to be a Flash victory, though I really hate what Flash did in draft. Like, I wanted to look like the biggest brain of all time, predicting 𝗬𝗀𝗵𝗆, and then they just lock in 𝗬𝗆 instead of 𝗬𝗀. They could have just last picked 𝗬𝗆. Why would you pick 𝗬𝗆 first and open her up to counterfix? That was so strange to me.
Yeah,
such
it
a weird
is very
success.
weird. Very, very weird.
And Renekton into 𝗬𝗆, I've had a lot of discussion like yesterday on Reddit after 𝗬𝗆 Renekton game in the LEC. The matchup definitely favors Renekton early game. His laning phase is very strong into 𝗬𝗆. She can't really trade back into him. I've talked to 𝗬𝗆 one trick who said it's basically impossible to play. Pro players are decent at getting around the matchup and just farming up for late. And at 2 items, the matchup kind of turns around. So 𝗬𝗆 will get there. Sadly, 𝗬𝗆 has 2 of the most expensive items in the game as her core build, so it takes a lot of time for her to arrive at that stage. So usually Renekton is on a timer, and it's kind of the same here, but it's a very long timer, and you can make so much happen before 𝗬𝗆 really can fight back and challenge for side lane pressure.
Yeah, but of course Yoshino is a player that we know can do that, right? He is a very good side lane player. We're happy to have him doing it again. He looked rough last game, but I mean, how much of that was his fault? And how much of that was just his lane opponent?
The first
really
dive wasn't the greatest.
True.
He definitely had his own contributions to getting the enemy top laner fed. It wasn't just on team play.
True, but it wasn't quite as bad as this, the scoreline suggests. But yeah, it's we're just waiting to get back into game here. Vinny, you really threw about 2 seconds too early because I was just getting keen to actually see some League of Legends, see some slaps going back and forth, see some big bonks. What's your lane to watch? Where do you think we'll have the most fun?
I just wanted to touch on that as well. It's not a lane, it's going to be the jungle matchup. It's very, very important here, especially if you take into consideration the top lane dynamic, which I just talked about. Top lane is going to be very important for the outcome of this game, especially if Flash is to win, because late game is going to be where they are looking at and split pushing. So they need to guard Yoshino and give him a good laning phase, which is quite difficult, of course, already in the 1-on-1 matchup. But then also playing against the most top lane focused jungler in the game, Nidalee, really likes to go top lane early, likes to go top lane often, and likes to dive there as well, together with the point and click, or basically just click, you don't even have to point, stun for Renekton. Very easy to execute, to land the spear to follow up with the damage. So I feel like this jungle pathing and how Ego and his team are going to set up the first few levels, the first few paths, the first few clears is going to impact a lot. And last game, of course, I mean, we kind of had 2 jungle diff games, right? First game, Ego just ran away with the game. Second game, Ego got the better of him. So now it's going to decide the whole match, and it's going to come down to the jungle matchup.
Yeah, I have to say I agree. We've been very impressed with Ego, even in that last one that they lost the game, but he was fine on the Nidalee. Couldn't get a huge amount done, but neither could the rest of his team. As we continue to wait to get on the Rift, might chuck us back over to our analysts. So you guys can just keep on talking if you guys are around. I'm sure you are. We'll go back over to our analysts. You guys keep on chatting until we've got some League of Legends.
Thank you, Everyday. We're back because VTV cannot give us a game of League of Legends without something going wrong, can they? That's not entirely fair. No. So we haven't got anything to any gameplays to talk about. So back to the drafts. I don't know. I wasn't prepared for this. Flash. What?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about
Let's talk
Flash.
about
We
their
touched on
drafts.
Percent's draft. We praised the draft and are a little bit worried because so far good drafts haven't really led to good victories for Percent. But I feel like Flash once again with Ezreal Yuumi, it's going to scale well into the late game. I feel like they were a little bit too quick on the Yuumi here. Do you agree, Rebel?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the thought process is their combination with the Ezreal was really strong, and so they just wanted to make sure they get that one locked down. Not to mention pretty much any death ball type champion where you got like Trundle, you got Olaf, anything like that, paired with Yuumi just immediately gets a massive power spike in terms of their mid and their late game priority, which is rather nice. But I would agree, maybe a little fast on the Yuumi. The thought process, I suppose that they would lose it if they had waited any more rotations or anything like that. Maybe get it banned out, but it's a strong combination. It works with their composition well, I suppose.
So, looking over it again, something I am noticing that it looked like they were really going all in on that Camille Galio, because with that forced pivot to Orianna, they are lacking quite a lot of engage. They really only have that Trundle Piddler, maybe the Yuumi slow. Of course, they do have that. They still have the Hextech ultimatum, but it's not really super impactful just on its own in the team fight.
I feel like this one pick has actually changed the identity of the composition from a very strong wombo combo engage comp to a very strong disengage 4-1 comp. Because now, if you think about the 4 core, you have Trundle disengage, you have Yuumi disengage, you have Ezreal disengage, and of course Orianna ultimate to control space. So it's very hard to get on top of those 4. So I feel like this is all about Camille. So Camille needs to get ahead. Camille needs to be put into a position where she can threaten side lane, where she can threaten turrets and inhibitors. Then it's super hard for Percent to ever play the game because they can't engage on the 4.
Like, can Camille get to that point against the Renekton, especially from what we've seen in that last game where
This is Everyday coming in to just say that I've just beansed it. I'm sorry. I killed Discord by accident, which means we don't have our analysts. Give us one moment. We'll get back in on that one. My bad. G'day, lads.
He's back.
Welcome back. Apologies, guys. Go back ahead.
I'm back, I guess.
Are we back live?
Yeah, we're live again.
The stream didn't crash. I accidentally left the Discord call. You guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
crack on.
So, yeah, absent chat. Yeah, no, I've lost my point. Thanks.
Rebel, which position do you play, or which position are you most comfortable with in terms of matchups and stuff? Do you know a lot about the Renekton? Oh, support as well. Do you know a lot about the Renekton? Yeah, the Renekton Camille. Do you know some intricacies in the laning phase? Because I only know the basics, like Renekton is going to bully her around in the early game and going to have a good advantage. But
yeah, so I think a really big thing is that Camille actually has a very rare opportunity to play aggressive into the likes of the Renekton, due to the fact that you have double auto cancel, you got true damage, you've got the shield on her W, and then of course her poke, or my apologies, not her W, her passive has the shield on it, and then her W gets some good poke. Not to mention, if you can't remember the exact terminology. If you're able to throw your E fast enough to get that out before the stun comes through from the Renekton, you can actually get your chains to pull you away from Renekton, which is a really nice interaction for Camille. So all in all, against most split pushers, Renekton will always bully. Camille is one of the very rare few where in the right matchup with the right players, Camille can actually do work. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the 4-1 composition. I think that's the most likely we'll see here. But if Camille really starts to struggle and can't get anything going in the laning phase against YT, I don't actually see a really bad opportunity for Yoshin to turn into like a ball delivery system for Kkadi, being that kind of regard as well.
That's fair.
It's very flash reliant then, though, right? You kind of need the flash engage because no one else really can offer anything. I guess you can try to pair her up with Ball and Yuumi, then just let her fly in from a weird flank and try to get on top of Bikoro or something.
Ezreal in with the ball on top of him. It's big brain.
Oh no, please.
Big
Please
brain.
no.
I don't know.
Oh, God.
Ezreal's a tanky these days. So
It's true, it's true.
all right. Apparently we do have games, so we're gonna go back to the Everyday and fake Yulwei. Take it away.
Yeah, honestly, that everyday guy, man, what is going on with that?
Hey, I've only gone and done it
Yes.
again. I was still muted. God damn, we're having a good night, boys. Woo! Yes!
Welcome back, welcome back.
Oh, just take it away. Just talk, man.
I mean, it's fake Yulwei, so he was talking to fake everyday, and suddenly fake everyday wasn't able to respond.
Ah, just take it away, dude. I'm inting. I'm hard inting.
So we have an interesting rune choice here for Yoshino, something we saw yesterday as well with the Camilla against Renekton matchup, and they want to go for a play, but Yoshino skilled W, so it's not going to be a stun. So early invade. So we talked about this jungle matchup. They want to split the map to protect Yoshino, so it's already a very, very good move from Flash to invade topside here. Will set Yoshino behind and experience a little bit in top lane, but with the presence of Ego around topside, this will basically enable him to just farm it out, get a few grass stacks in, and just neutralize laning phase as much as he can. So already a very good first movement for Flash. They understand their composition. They know how to play to Yoshino, and considering this is the first week they have played with Yoshino, it's very good to see.
Yeah, exactly. I am happy to see them integrating him back in, putting some faith in his side lane prowess, which is obviously not what Flash has been doing a huge amount. It is going to be vertical jungling, as you can see. Ego and Eagle, oh God, that's a fun pair, as we'll be clearing out each other's jungles. All camps taken, no one really ending up behind. But Trundle's done it a little bit quicker.
Surprisingly so. So it's single target clear mostly because both are Gromp blue buff, so a lot of single target damage. So that favors, of course, the machete start. So that makes sense for Trundle to be quick. Trundle wants to go for an early dive on Renekton. He's level 2. Big wave crashing too. But Trundle is in vision. So there's the opportunity for Glory to teleport as a counterplay.
Yeah, you can already see how far back he's sitting. They're coming in. There is the first damage. The teleport's called. And the play instantly ends. So in the end, it's a teleport for basically nothing.
Who's baiting who here? I think Flash really planned this like this. They disengaged so quickly. They didn't even lose any HP. So now, just a big advantage. They denied some minions. They just got the teleport out of Glory. Glory can't go back to lane, so even denied the whole wave in mid lane here. And Eagle didn't get much done because the bot lane actually was super annoying. Tried to chase him away. So Eagle, in the meantime, able to get one more camp. His own red.
Yep, he'll move over his.
Yeah, his own red buff, of course. So now up to 2 camps up on Ego, but Ego achieved so much in the meantime that I actually really like his movement. Early jungle pathing for sure in Ego's favor.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to know, was it planned to try and bait Glory's teleport? Because if that is...
It definitely looked like it.
If it is, that is so big brain. But I guess it's kind of like it's a win-win. If he teleports, okay, cool, you got his TP, you just back off. If he doesn't, you kill YT. So it's a really hard one to lose there for Flash. There is a little bit of a trade in the top lane. Yoshino can't quite proc that grasp. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go, grasp for Yoshino. So this is something that keeps Camilla a little bit healthier. She also gets a lot of extra HP to work with. Camilla is one of those...
Hello.
Oh.
As Trundle has come in and dropped the pillar, and I think there will be no teleports saving YT this time.
Oh, and first blood too.
Mm-hmm.
It's disaster for Percent. This is the one champ they can't let... can't have going ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really dangerous for them. They don't have any good answer to her later on in the game. Of course, the Renekton is there as a counter early on, but not when it comes to later items, later side lane play. So now a big problem. It's with the teleport still available for Yoshino, he will catch the wave. I just wanted to say the wave actually looked like the advantage wouldn't be as big because 𝗁𝗐 just immediately reset there. Kind of surprised Yoshino didn't go for the whole wave. I guess he was scared of the teleport.
Oh, hello. Mid lane. 𝗁𝗁 gets the taunt, but the instant cleanse out of 𝗁𝗁. Ooh, and now in the bot lane.
Oh, 𝗁𝗁 wants to go for one.
They have a look at it, but the pillar does not quite hold 𝗁𝗁 up. Now, they're actually chasing him upriver here, but I'm sure they'll call that off once they see he's not going for dragon. Ooh, Eagle behind enemy line.
So Eagle resets first here. He's one level ahead of Ego, which is to be expected. Ego much more concerned about the actual positioning of his lanes than actually farming up all the camps. Want to point out something that is interesting about this support matchup. Last game we saw 𝗏𝗏 going for the better item choice if you want to scale. No time for that. Let's take a look at the top lane gank.
Yeah, I mean,
just very easily set up.
Very easy.
He doesn't even get the stun, but still, it's so easy to get the kill here. Nothing much the Renekton can do, even against the full minion wave. They are able to lock down the kill and give it over to Yoshino. And they want to... Oh no. This dive is dangerous.
Oh dear. But 𝗁𝗏 is here as well. YT's already taking so much damage. He slices. Can he get a dice? There's a 𝗁𝗁 ult, but the shockwave has been used. There's all that knock up. There's a blast cone getting Yoshino out of the fight. It's all turning around, going 𝗏𝗏's way. But unfortunately, the second wave of spells has missed. Eagle and 𝗁𝗁 did not land. Just the one kill.
And so close to getting the kill on YT. That could have actually meant a 3-kill advantage there for 𝗏𝗏. If they get YT, they can also turn on the approaching 𝗁𝗁 and Eagle. But the YT stays alive. All the damage is still focused on him, and somehow he stays alive throughout the whole play. And 𝗁𝗏 dies.
It was
so
the 𝗁𝗁
big swing around.
It was. Let's have a look at this. That 𝗁𝗁 ult shield was massive here.
Of course.
Let's see how it rocks.
So they get a lot of damage on YT. Look at his HP bar. He's so low. 𝗁𝗁 lands. The shockwave actually, the shockwave didn't help here because the shockwave repositioned him further away from Ego. So Ego couldn't really get any more damage in. Yoshino had his first rotation already done. So it's only auto attacks from him. And he didn't even attack too often afterwards. So 𝗁𝗁's shockwave was meant as extra burst, but actually kind of costed them the kill there. He should have tried to get one more auto attack from Ego and then shockwave. Instead, they give over a kill to Ego, who is now very far ahead in the jungle matchup.
To be
doesn't
fair
really help YT
to
too much.
To be fair to 𝗁𝗁, of course. I mean, he got an assist. Now he has a cutlass. To be fair to 𝗁𝗁, that killed if it wasn't for the 𝗁𝗁 magic damage shield. And it's hard to calculate that one in. That 100% kills if he doesn't get that magic damage shield.
Yeah, absolutely. But they knew 𝗁𝗁 was coming, so, I mean...
I suppose.
𝗁𝗁,
but have a look at this as 𝗁𝗁 flashes, and it's just traded out. The taunt will not land.
So that's... I don't think they can ever really land the taunt without the flash or the extra movement speed, so I feel like 𝗁𝗁 should still be fine. Also very hard to gank from Eagle. He doesn't really bring any CC. In fact, he does not bring any CC. And Ego, takes the opportunity to just get one more buff. He's now on bot side. Top lane matchup is still volatile, but I feel like it has stabilized a little bit for Yoshino. So instead, Ego is now trying to get a few objectives on the map. He's behind in levels still. And
there is absolutely no read on where Ego is right now. Eagle's got no clue that he's on this dragon. He didn't know the red buff had been stolen. Yeah, this is really clean.
Nicely done. Ego really smurfing on his pathing, even though he gets out-farmed. It looks bad if you just look at the stat line. He has had a very strong early game, I feel like. Very good Trundle performance so far. Needs to get to level 6 to be stronger in skirmishes. But I also like Eagle's play, so he is immediately turning on the Herald. No one swapped for that one. They have priority in all 3 lanes, so very easy Herald. This could snowball into a big advantage in terms of gold.
Yep, and as we see, YT is struggling to deal damage, but look down at the bot lane. They are not struggling quite as much as 𝗁𝗁 takes a whole heap of damage and flashes away from the piercing arrow. I don't know if that would have killed. Perhaps a little bit.
No. It wouldn't have killed.
A little bit antsy there, but survives.
I think he even got hit, by the way.
Oh.
I think he flashed too late.
Oh, well, there we go. A very bad flash then.
So now very exposed in the bot lane. No summoner spell available whatsoever. 𝗏𝗏 used both of his summoner spells. 𝗁𝗁 also down on cleanse and flash. So If Lisa is able to hit a grab, he can redeem himself after his very questionable Bard performance in game 1 and bring a good advantage to his bot lane partner.
Yeah, we might, and it's unlikely, to be fair, that there will be a dive or anything down there. I can't see Eagle really pathing to dive the bot lane. It's a very slippery lane to dive, even without their summoners, but we'll have to find out. We know Nidalee likes to play around the top lane. And this is, as you said, this is still a volatile matchup. Eagle might want to just try and tilt the iceberg in YT's favor. Not that it's going to be easy.
Yoshino has survived the hardest part of the matchup. He's level 9 soon, so Q max, a lot of counter damage. He's working on his Trinity Force. He secured the first blood, of course. So they have really gotten him through this laning phase. He still needs some more items. They also already got a dragon, which is actually super crucial for 1 composition, because one of the reasons for 1 is not very effective right now in Lake. Is Lisa caught here?
Oh, no.
Can they do something?
I think he's okay.
Nope. So one of the reasons is that dragon is just too much pressure. As Eagle tries to fish for something here, and Ego is 2 levels down. So we have the bot lane dive you talked about, but Ego is here. Ego, you need to get there.
Yeah, they need to get around as Slater and Palet are beginning to back off. They need to call in the Galio ult. There's the Trundle Pillar. Lisa taking a lot of damage. No. Teleport and ult coming in. Slater, they need to try and finish him off. There it is. Eagle cuts him down. It's a lot committed for just 1 kill. And now they need to disengage. But no, they'll throw the Chains of Corruption. Look at the turnaround now. Yoshino's the target. He's got the cat. But will it be enough? It will! Somehow!
Survive! Yoshino way too deep. Actually, I really hate that Yoshino was called to TP bot to defend, because if you give Yoshino the time here, and you give up the turret, which is very likely to fall anyway after giving up the first kill, just give him the time to work on the platings. He would have gotten 3, maybe even 4 platings in top lane. Yep. Camille is insane at pushing turrets. So let's see when he TPs in. He doesn't even TP in, honestly. He just walks from base.
Okay,
that was on reset timing. So
that's not as bad.
Okay, I take it back. He didn't actually TP in. Slater gets killed by an auto attack here from Eagle. Mm-hmm. Then this is really just time wasted for Flash. There's no way they can defend this. This is a really useless fight, and they are super lucky that Yoshino didn't fall. Yeah, just go to your lanes. There's no way.
You could even see 𝘁cie started a recall. He was like, okay, this is over. I'm getting started a recall, and then his team re-engaged, and he had to throw a shockwave.
And now Yoshino without his flash is quite easy to gank with YT and Eagle, as we talked about in Champion Select. Mm-hmm. Easy setup. So it's also quite a big lead for Percent now with all the turret platings falling there. So 2k gold lead. Palette is still scaling. Slater is still scaling. So right now, I feel like Percent would win most of the skirmishes. We have 1 item secured for every single... okay, not the mid lane, but he doesn't really matter too much. All the important parts of the composition actually have 1 item secured already. Very strong Renekton power spike, very strong Nidalee. And let's look at this Renekton power spike.
Hello, as it is the Renekton power spike in action as Yoshino has got to run away. There's the flash forward. YT wants this kill. It's so close, but Ego's arrived. And Yoshino once again survives by the hairs on his chinny chin chin.
Wait, what?
And they're re-engaging. Oh, Yoshino, what are you doing, son? Pops that Hextech ultimatum, has the shield. The Dominus is running, and here comes Glory. Misses the taunt, but hits the charge.
Yoshino, the rust is finally showing. We thought he was back, but that was not a Yoshino and a good Yoshino play. He just went into the way his life. That was very bad movement from Yoshino. He was safe.
He was.
Slater at least gets a few platings back, and this dragon should go over 2% though. So finally starting their dragon snowball. It's delayed, and it might be Cloud Soul. So that would be really, really tragic. If they get Cloud Soul here in this game against the split pusher, that would be really annoying for them. So they're really hoping for Mountain to spawn.
Regardless, they would have liked either Infernal or Ocean, I'm sure. But they do get the Mountain. They do get those tank stats. Very nice as YT gets onto Ego. Ego, you don't want this fight, man. He takes so much damage. Oh, Lisa surviving by a hair. Ooh, boy, oh boy. We are playing a game of low health bars.
We're playing a game of high action but low kill counts. Everyone's getting away with this. It's really, really close all the time. So, where is Percent going to strike next? They secured the first dragon for themselves. They are very strong right now. They should try to force a fight whenever possible. The next objective to spawn is Herald 2. That's not something Flash is going to contest. So maybe force the Herald into mid turret. And then you open up for a lot of roams, for a lot of area you can control, and really diminish Flash's comeback potential.
Yeah, as you said, they definitely need to keep choking Flash out of this game. Don't let them back in. You know, Flash, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. Percent do not have that much to give up, as they are 3k ahead at 15 minutes. Something we really do have to praise is how much better Percent's early games have been this series. This is a team that was always 2k gold down at 15 minutes, even in games they won. So it's good to see them doing much, much better on that front.
I even extend this argument to the whole week. Against OPG, they consistently won the early game. Actually, from if you just look at the stats, they came in yesterday against OPG with the worst gold at 15 at minus 2,001 gold. And then after one series, after 3 games, which one game they lost actually, they improved this stat for the whole split from 2,000 down to 1,400 down. So they really showed up in the early games. The stat is going to improve even more after these 3 games. So definitely worked on the early game. And 𝗁𝗲𝗺 is called out.
He is, but he's going to try and get away. As soon as he sees the enemy jungler, he knows he's in a lot of trouble. He needs to buy time for his team to get there. But Yoshino knows he can't fully engage Renekton.
Renekton is so disgusting in the mid game. My god, that was so much damage. And now they have really given up all control in the mid lane. This is not only going to be a charge, it's probably going to be the whole turret.
Yeah, probably.
So a lot of control.
You've got to ask, like, what is Slater doing alone in the top lane? He needs to be with the core of the team. Surely he needs to be with the team's core. They don't have any real pressure without him.
Yeah, right now it's not really time to pressure for Flash though, so I don't actually mind it too much. He's just trying to get a lot of experience, try to get to level 11, to level 2 ultimate, and just trying to farm up, get his Mana Moon stack, get enough gold for his second item power spike.
Ooh, Eagle, the spear is eaten away from, and he deals a lot of damage in response. And no big deal.
Yeah, playing 3 lanes in the mid game is ideal, of course, to split the experience as much as possible. And 𝘁𝗫 doesn't really want to go to a side lane as Orianna, so I can understand this movement, of course. This will hurt 𝘁𝗫's level in the long run.
There's a shockwave onto 𝗵𝗀𝗆, but there's a thresh right there, guys.
That's right. Good try.
They gave it a crack, I guess.
Yeah, not really much to do on the map, so yeah, why not? Still hate that 𝘁𝗫 is not going tier. I'm not sure why VCS Oriannas just refuse to build tier when every international Orianna goes tier and stomps with tier. It's such a strong item on her. I really don't understand what is going on. Shopkeeper is scamming them over and over again.
Absolutely. He's running some big scams. Oh, this is a little bit too deep as the Chains of Corruption came out. Forced the Mikael's use. That was very deep.
Yeah, he tried to fish for a kill there. Of course, they forced 𝗵𝗀𝗆's flash, so at least he's now exposed. There's a lot of defensive capabilities on his team composition, though, with Glory's ultimate, with Lisa's protection, so it's not in that much trouble. It's not the viruses we have seen against Wukongs, against stuff like that, immediately die in teamfights. It's not very likely to happen.
Yep, very true. As now we do rejig the lane assignments for Percent as Galio heads up to the top lane to push that wave in. And we continue to be in a bit of a quiet state. There might be a name for it.
Interested
but I
to see
won't
what
invoke it.
you all know what we're talking about. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what Yoshino is going to build here. Old build, of course, was the Hydra next. Oh, do they want to look for a dive? Finally giving up this turret. So Hydra was, before Death's Dance, was an item. A lot of people just built Hydra here. Both Hydras are actually viable. One of them gives you more teamfight power. The tank Hydra, of course, Titanic Hydra. Very strong teamfight, 2-item power spike then. One of the strongest bruisers in teamfights. The other Hydra, this is dangerous, Laurie.
It's okay, he has the Thresh Lantern to get back to. And in the meantime, a dragon is spawned, and Eagle will go take it down. Look at this mid lane push. This is aggressive. Lisa flashing forward.
Like this one Flash, just very conservatively. disengaging, just farming up, trying to get levels, trying to get gold. It's only a 3k gold lead in now 20 minutes after it was a 3k gold lead already at like 5 minutes ago. So the gold lead is not growing. Of course, the Dragon Snowball has started now, but it's still far away. So I really like the restraint shown from Flash. They are not playing OPG style, not contesting every single dragon, and they really don't need to. So it's good to see. Just scale up, and it's going to be the Hydra. So a little bit of an old item build coming out from Yoshino.
It could just be the Tiamat. Could go something else after Tiamat. Tiamat's really useful, just to get that auto attack reset.
Maybe.
I imagine he will just go full Hydra though. But it's something.
Yeah, Hydra is very strong.
Yep.
It might be a game to actually go Titanic and try to go for team fights, because it might already be too late to play 4-4-1. From behind, it's very hard, especially into Galio. Even if you get to a point where you win straight up against YT, and that point is still very far away, but let's say they get to the point in 10 minutes, then there's still all the pressure from Glory's ultimate, and they still can turn around on you. It's very unlikely for your team to be able, in the meantime, to get something on the other side of the map.
Red buff might
Small
cause a
flash
bit of a ruckus here as the hook misses. Lisa's wondering why he didn't get to go with the team. As now here's the re-engage. The shockwave doesn't do much of anything. The teleports are called. YT's very, very fast. Yoshino's going to dive in onto the support. Gets that kill for free, but YT is zoning 3 away. Can
Slater is hunting.
Yes, Slater is on the hunt. He's got blood in his eyes. YT now, he's going to take a lot of damage. He should be going down. This is a hard win fight for Flash. Percent has not navigated this well at all.
Too aggressive, way too aggressive to invade this one. Choke points, very good for Flash, and very good movement as well from all the players to avoid the Galio. Galio, a little bit of a slow champion, of course. It looks a little bit outdated sometimes, just running at people. And this time around, Flash just able to kite around his... now, Glory, what are you doing? Where are you?
Glory, he's way too far out, as he needs to try and get away, but the auto attack follows.
Later, smurfing so hard this game. Yeah. Wow, he hits every single skill shot. Yeah, he looks like a Korean Asriel. His Asriel is absolutely legendary. I love to see him. First picked or first rotation Asriel here, and making it work in the first team fight that he has both of his items completed. They close the gold gap. Almost. It's still there. It's still an advantage for percent. But now the doubts creeped in. Now you start to doubt your team fighting. Now you start to doubt your early game composition. Flash has bought some time.
Yeah, and I mean the cracks are showing. Like that was not worth it for a red buff. Like it's just a red buff. Leave it. Who cares? You do not need to overforce. Don't risk your lead for that kind of thing. That is very silly. And Big Koro's in so much trouble. The Lantern cannot stop a true shot barrage. And Slater is absolutely popping off.
I mean, this wasn't 𝗁𝗁ty, to be fair, but nice follow-up from Slater, of course. So now Flash is really looking to get into a dominant position. And if they get back in the gold lead, they can actually also then try to play for the side lane once again. Another kill went over to Yoshino, as Eagle has to flash away. Eagle has kind of lost his purpose.
Lisa throws out a hook, can't hit much of anything, as Slater just goes forward so aggressive, and he takes another kill. He's going under tower. He does not care. This man does not
honestly, at this point, just first pick Asriel. This man is a machine on this champion. Absolutely incredible. He dodged no effort whatsoever, just sidestepped the ability, jumped forward, got another kill. He's utilizing Asriel's kit to the fullest potential, and look at him pressuring this mid lane. Flash is fully online, and they are back even in gold, and way stronger when it comes to composition right now.
Yeah, that is very, very true. It's going to be hard for percent. They had the ball in their hand, and all they needed to do was go home, but they decided to go for one last pitch.
The Eagle still hurts, at least. If he can actually land some spears at the start, you might be able to soften up some targets to maybe follow up with Big Koro. The problem, of course, is Palette is there to heal everyone. With the new Yuumi nerfs, you can't do that too often. I think 2-3 E's at the start of the fight are possible, but then you're on very low on mana. So probably going to not be enough to really prevent all the poke from landing. We have 10 seconds to the next dragon and percent in a much better position. Flash just might opt to give this up.
It's not a particularly important one. Slater's actually been caught out here. Can they get the follow-up? They throw the 𝗲𝗺 ult in, but they disengage too quickly. And that Yuumi heal will begin to tick up. There's a hook onto Ego. Is there enough damage for 𝗁𝗚 in the backline? Absolutely wrecking them all as Slater is now so low. He doesn't have his cat to heal him up either. Has to try and find some life steal. Everyone still lives somehow as the dragon is now pulled out. True shot barrage whips across. There's another piercing arrow onto Slater. Ego is creeping in. It's going to be a bit of a smite fight. 𝗁𝗍 taking lots and lots of damage. The dragon goes lower and lower, and it will be secured by Eagle. But now the fight erupts, and it starts well for Flash. They get 2 kills immediately. Can 𝗁𝗐 get anything back? It doesn't look like it. He's getting kited out. 𝘂𝗏𝗄 goes flying forward and rips 𝗁𝗍 in 2. And 𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗆 is going to walk away saying, hey, we got dragon. Worth, right? And, sorry, mate, but no.
It's over. This game is over. _% can't win teamfights anymore. They had such a good position. 𝗁𝗐 on the flank. 𝗁𝗐 actually really tried to force Slater there. Got on top of him, forced a glory ult, and Slater had to flash. He didn't even have to flash away. What? He still has his flash. Yep. That is insane. Yep. Slater playing on the edge once again, dropped down to 200 HP. But in the end, when the first strike doesn't land, we talked about one punch composition so often. When Galio and Renekton don't kill someone with the first engage, the fight is doomed, as we can see here. So the HP bars actually look favorable, of course, for Flash, but 𝗁𝗐 can't do anything here. Look at 𝗁𝗐 really tries to get in, and Shockwave getting 2 kills there too. But 𝗁𝗐 is just he has been outscaled. He can't do anything on the Renekton anymore. So even though he has had a very strong second game and a decent third game in terms of just laning phase, he's now facing 5-1 Yoshino.
And
this game,
the shoe is on the other foot apparently. Last time Yoshino had to stare down a very fed 𝗁𝗐. Now, 𝗁𝗐's going to know how it feels to be the little man in that one, looking down a Dark Souls boss.
Are we watching here?
Okay, apparently. Oh, no, Glory. I didn't even notice this. We must have been in a replay. Glory, that is just cocky. You can't be there.
I mean, to be honest, it's okay to look for the kill, I feel like, because... Sepia Rift again. So there's way too much happening for replays. Please, we really need a second monitor in the replays. It's every time we cut from replays, it's like, okay, something has collapsed again. What is going on? We never get out of the replay
loop.
Circle.
Loop. Yeah, like Doctor Strange. VCS, I have come to bargain. VCS, I have come to bargain.
The vicious circle.
Yeah. But of course, Flash are in a lovely, lovely position here. It's going to be pretty hard for them to lose this one, regardless of any tech issues. Just saying, Yulwei, while we're in a tech pause, maybe you should check Discord. You know why. As we do wait to get back in. Always have to remind you. Don't worry. It's going to be interesting to watch how Flash closes this one out, because that's something we have to be judging them on. We are looking at them as sort of the returning king. They're, of course, our reigning champions of last split. They won spring, and we wanted to see them carried into summer. A lot of people we talked to before the season started said that they were the clear strongest team coming in. They fumbled very badly early on, and this is them coming back, but we need to see very clean closeouts.
And today has been a little bit of a setback, in my opinion, because if you think about the last 2 series, they have gotten better and better, right? Against Team Secret, they really looked like the better team, and we rated Secret very highly. So today, struggling against _%, maybe it's just an upswing for _% and them finally figuring out an identity as a team, a draft that works for them. On the other hand, the second game is something a champion of a split shouldn't have happened to them, right? This shouldn't be something that happens to such a strong team. So there's still a lot to work on. I like that they're diversifying in terms of win conditions with this 4-1 composition. I like the diversity in support pool, for example, as well. The only team to still play Yuumi. He has also shown us a Lulu and stuff like that. So definitely a lot going for Flash, but I'm not ready to call them the best yet if they show us performances like this.
Interesting. And we have just gotten word that it's going to actually be like a 5 or 6 minute delay. So instead of just filling, we will throw over to a break screen. Don't worry, we will have our eyes fixed on the feed. But yeah, we just got word from the officials saying it is going to be a little bit of a wait, and we don't want to just sit here trying to fill air. So we do apologize, everyone. We will be back as soon as there is League of Legends to play, and we can try and see if Flash can close this one out. See you in a bit, guys. We apologize once more.
metal has begun, and metal shall prevail. For we know what they have done. 5 legends of our realm who sought to follow the path of their dark musings. But they did not know what they had summoned. Pentakill. To these creatures, there is but one thing left to do. Heavy metal.
Welcome back, everybody. We are coming straight into a team fight here. Unfortunately, they did not give us any warning. As here we go, it does look like Flash have lost their mid laner, but are sieging on towards the tower. I wish I could tell you how this got started, but seriously, we went from pause to this. And here we go. I'm pretty sure our casters aren't even in sync. We're going to have to fix that up as fast as we can. Oh boy. Yulwei, what's your timestamp, my dude?
It was explosive. I like the explosive throw. Maybe a little bit earlier next time. Thank you. 28, 19, 29, or 21.
Oh, I'm actually ahead of you. Oh.
I stopped for
okay. You need to go 2 times speed then. I'm actually a few seconds ahead of you. Oh, boy, oh, boy. We did not expect it to jump straight back into a team fight. But it did.
Please
Flash,
give me your time now.
43, 44.
Okay. 7:48. Okay, we should be in sync now.
Right,
sorry
there
for
we
that,
go.
everyone.
Sorry, everybody. That is the reality of being an unofficial stream. We are trying to work out how to do a better feed, but we haven't quite figured it out yet. Of course, if you'd go advocate to your local rioters, maybe just say, hey, make these guys official. Then we could just have a clean feed. That'd be really easy. Get a studio or something.
But
let's focus on what people care about, which is, of course, this game 3 of 𝘁𝗆 versus 𝘁𝗺. The rhythm was lost a little bit because of that lengthy tech pause, but 𝘁𝗆 are still in a very dominant position. How do you think they're going to close this one out?
I already broke bot lane inhibitor. This opens up next Baron very easily, of course. Now Mountain Soul is spawning, and 𝘁𝗆 might even completely disregard that to push in top lane and force �percent to make a hard judgment to either lose turrets and base or lose the Mountain Soul opportunity. So let's see how �percent responds if they are able to sneak someone in there and secure the dragon. Because we see 𝘁𝗆
They're pulling
shows
the trigger here.
Well, they tried.
Hits a hook there on 𝘁𝗍. He has to burn the cleanse, but he is very safe. Of course, has a Yuumi to heal him back up as well, but they're going to go straight back in. Doesn't have the second cleanse. And they are decisive as they rip that Ezreal down. Eagle now has to be careful on the front line. Goes gold as he took a lot of damage from 𝘁𝗀𝗵. The mistime shockwave isn't good enough as he flashes away.
And now, can they get through the Mountain Drake? We see pinks from 𝘁𝗆 first, and someone has to go bot lane to clear this out, so it should be quite an easy take for 𝘁𝗁, especially if they can kill. Go close enough.
𝘂𝗂𝗏, he could be in some trouble, but no, he turns it around. Absolutely no chance here as he's going to go for the 1v2. There's the leg sweep into the stab, and 𝘂𝗂 with a swift 1v2 under the tower.
He has truly outscaled the Renekton, not only the Renekton, the whole of 𝘁𝗆. He can probably go 1v3 at this point. Look at that damage from the lags. He's insanely strong right now. Double lifesteal items too. So immediately up to full HP again. And he's just keeping the pressure. And the Mountain Drake got denied by 𝘁𝗆. So next target, of course, is Baron spawning in 1 minute. Very easy with the bot lane super minion streaming in as we get replay from something. Oh, it's the 𝘂𝗏 play in the top lane.
He even gets
Look at that Q damage.
Oh, good dodge with the ult there.
Very nice
Very
dodge.
slick 𝘂𝗏. That's the 𝘂𝗏 we wanted to see. Stark, I know you helped your team out in their times of trouble, but I'm not going to miss you if I get more of that.
Thank you for your service. You can now truly rest well on your retirement bench and help out 𝘂𝗏 work out some of his weird tendencies maybe here and there. Because there's stuff to improve on, especially if you look back at game 2, of course. But 𝘂𝗏 is one of the star players of our league, and we're so happy to have him back. One of the favorite players of the community too. And of course, we still hope for his full recovery.
Yeah, he's had a rough time, old 𝘂𝗏, so it's hard not to root for him. Was very, very sick. So we're very glad to see him on the mend. Of course, he is not doing a whole lot of allowing his opponents to mend here this game. 7-1 on the 𝘂𝗏. 𝘂𝗏? What did I just say? Camille. Whoa, sorry. Lost the plot there. Top lane 𝘂𝗏, 𝗲𝗏. No, of course it is a Camille. Baron being taken by 𝘁𝗆. And is the coffin finally nailed shut?
I think so, yeah. Basically, 𝘁𝗏 just admitted their defeat. They're not going for the Dragon Baron contest. There isn't really anything they can look forward to in their composition, so flipping at Baron could have been one of the very few ways to get back into this game if you just compare items, compare base scaling. We talked about the damage concerns in draft already, and if this game went to 30 minutes, they would have damage concerns even from ahead. Now they are 7k gold behind.
Yeah,
they don't have any damage anymore, so it's going to be a slow but certain finish for 𝘁𝗆, and they will close out this week in second position with 6-2.
About damn time, 𝘁𝗆. Glad to see you arrive on the scene here in the VCS, and it looks like the back half of the split is going to be where the VCS starts making sense again. We had half a split that was truly bizarro world, but we've crossed back through the portal to Earth, and things make sense again. Our good teams actually win games. As the top lane inhib is being sieged, the mid lane turret is cracked, and 𝘁𝗏, it's now or never, my dudes. You can't win after 3 inhibs, surely, so why not take the fight now? Alright, they're going to take the fight. I don't even know what around. It is just going to be under the Nexus Towers, I suppose.
I guess.
I mean, I don't even know how do they start this fight. They're just so hard zoned. YT pops the Dominus, but Ego is eating him alive. 𝘲𝗲 takes 3/4 of his health bar just from a shockwave. There's a hook onto Ego. They will get the kill there, but one Nexus Tower's already fallen. 𝘁cie𝗱𝗆 is slinging some nukes as Yoshino dives in, wants to carve someone up, but gets hooked and the Lantern saves his target. Now they just want to hit the Nexus as hard as they can. Or are they going to go for kills? That would be very, very cheeky. They're trying to kite out. Glory very, very low. Yoshino with a good flash. And 𝘁𝗏's gotten the kill. And Flash will take the series 2-1 over %.
Another comeback victory, and this time around looking very convincing in fights. What an insane performance from multiple members. Yoshino, after getting wrecked in Game 2, comes back and ends the game with, I think, 9 kills, maybe even 10 kills. On top lane, 𝘁𝗏𝗆 blind picked in and getting countered with Renekton didn't stop him here at all. Another victory in the books, 6-2, second place secured.
Absolutely. And I will be saying goodnight to you, but I will give you back over to our analyst desk for their final segment of tonight. Take it away, boys. Break down what Flash has just done.
Thank you, Everyday. And with that, we see the Flash we always wanted to see. We saw brilliant pathing out of Ego in the early game. We saw a massive split push monster in the top lane. And we saw 𝘁𝗱𝗆 doing wonderful 𝘁𝗱𝗆ery things on Ezreal. So, fellas, break it down for me. What happened? We saw that game. Tell us the magic of Flash. Go ahead. How did it all get rolling? Rebel, take it away.
I mean, we did miss a fair chunk of the middle of that game, so I don't know exactly where they went from absolute loss to or contested games, just absolute dominance. But certainly we saw what happened with the Camille on the top side. Just kept picking up kills over and over and over again, became an absolute nuisance in the side lane. Orianna also. I mean, the mid lane here for 𝘁𝗏𝗆 was absolutely as stunning as well. Once again, that Orianna pick coming in spades in this game yet again, and their solo lanes continue to impress. Fantastic new addition to their team on the top side of the map, and even 𝘁𝗱𝗆 in that bot lane, as was pointed out by Everyday. Fantastic performance, pretty much just across the board here for Flash.
But we have to talk about the early game, because Percent actually looked very strong in the early game. They had a big lead, right? They had a 2.5k gold ahead, the bot lane dive that really got them the first turret with the Herald. So Percent actually definitely showing some promise here in the early game, and finally looking like a strong and competitive team there too. Then they just kind of lost the plot. They overchased into the top lane jungle, got punished for that one, and from then onwards, item disadvantage, comp disadvantage, and all the team fights just went Flash's way, right?
That's indeed very true. Now, we have to pick an MVP for the game. Who are we going to give it to, Yulwei?
I think it's still 𝘁𝗱𝗆, right? Even with Yoshino's performance in the end, or do you want to go to Yoshino instead?
Rebel?
That's tough. That's a really tough question. I think 𝘁𝗱𝗆's performance through all 3 games was definitely more consistent, but the Camille by the end of that game was popping up. I will say they had to put resources into it. I think 𝘁𝗱𝗆, especially in the early and mid game, felt better. So I think I got to give it to 𝘁𝗱𝗆 by a slim edge.
Yeah, I agree.
𝘁𝗱𝗆 is getting our MVP for Game 3, but for our player of the series, we are going to give it to the man in the jungle, Ego. Absolutely dominant Game 1. Showed up even in their loss. And then very good. Didn't make as much of an impact in Game 3, but he definitely had a very good early game pathing to get Flash on the right track. So, with that said,
nice when pre-game works out so nicely, because you both pointed out Ego's special spot in this roster and his importance to Flash, and now he just carried his team to a 2-1 victory over Percent. They get revenge for the first 0-2 loss, of course, of the split, the very first day. Do you feel like Ego's performance, especially in Game 3, was on him, or do you feel like it's more the team coming in clutch?
I mean, I gotta say, I think Ego's ganking really helped the team a lot. I can't say that Ego himself definitively did anything like monstrous. That like, he didn't make those crazy outplays. He wasn't ganking like crazy or finding all these plays. Wasn't controlling everything entirely. But what he did do was he held the map. The big one in my mind, especially in Game 3, that dragon take was huge. If he doesn't take that dragon, especially I think it was the first one off the board, that's Dragon Soul. That's a way that the other team gets back into the game. So him taking that early on was just a domino effect where you're able to buy more time for your team, you're able to secure that for yourselves, and then you end up getting your team into a place. And he was 9 for 11 in terms of kill participation. He was a lot of the reason they were able to punish some of the lack of mobility, especially things like the Galio. I gotta really appreciate what Ego did, not only through the series, but especially in Game 3 when they needed him.
I agree.
That is 100% the case. Now, that's all from us today. Thank you to our wonderful casters Everyday and Yulwei. Thank you, 𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗺, for coming on. Please show them all the love on social media. With that, you can also follow VCS English's social media if you just look down below. Come join our Discord. We've got a great community. There's a lot of banter going along in there. And, of course, we are Unofficial, so please pester your local writers, pester your local gariners, whatever they're called. Ask, can they have a clean feed or something? Maybe make them official. And if you do feel like it, absolutely 100% up to you. If you can toss a little bit of a donation to a Patreon or just to PayPal, we can make this stream even better. Thank you and good night. Have a good one. See you next week.